Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你好中国只叫西纳，我爱更尊重中。持有上。
Alson, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us. Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, God!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I'll help you.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for everyone's favorite pop culture live stream podcast. It is time for Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster, and I'm welcoming all of you once again to a little fun movies and TV with an occasional video game stuff sprinkled in. Chat. This is a show created by you guys and funded by you guys. As you all know, YouTube likes to demonetize streams, so ad revenue from these shows are kind of few and far between. So your super chats and gifted memberships go a very, very long way, and we very much appreciate any of it. So we will read all super chats aloud, as we always do. I will stop between topics to read your super chats, but we do break for super chats of $50 or more. So if anyone sends in over 50, then we hit the brakes and we talk about what you want us to talk about. So I can't do all of this alone, guys. I need my team assembled. We need the Tooney Town Titans here. Stat. You know, Kevin Apollo, I should have had in that intro video just like a cat like come up in front of it and just like show its rear end.
just cut off the camera.
Yeah. Version 2. How you doing, Mighty?
I'm good. You know, I was actually thinking that before you go to introduce the rest of the panel, you should play the little clip of the Ewoks playing the battle horn. Just someone will be able to Vietnam teddy bears.
That?
You know
Oh, yeah. I would love if we had that, but I don't think we have that. I'll get that in next. Remind me, I'll put that in. Or next time we film it. Well, you've got rants coming out once I actually get around to editing them. Tomorrow morning, I am going to actually get a few of these rants edited and ready to go, and we'll release them throughout the weekend. That's member exclusive content, so we need to get that out. But you know who else does member exclusive content around here? Who I need to get together with to film. It's Trish.
Okay. Hello.
What's going on, lady?
You know, rocking and rolling and whatnot.
Sounds
like
exciting.
Grease.
We have to get together to do a little crime and punishment very soon.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, the my banter game is off tonight. I don't know why. I'm like trying.
I'm not helpful either. To be fair, I have I don't have an Ewok suggestion or anything. So
today was a long day. Like every time I turned around, some video game company was doing something dumb.
Oh, really?
I had to stop the presses and write about. EA. We wrote an article this morning where I was like, EA admitted Dragon Age: The Veilguard was a failure, and then I'm like, okay, go about my day. A couple hours later, I see EA's stock has dropped 20 points after it admitted that Dragon Age: The Veilguard was a failure. Like it was, or 20%. It was. Oh my gosh, it was insane. But speaking of insane. A guy who you got to be insane to miss on his channel or on That Park Place, where he has a new article up today about the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 release date. The one and only Nolan Thunder is here.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're jazzed for an awesome stream tonight. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Nolan, you got a couple articles coming out this weekend, too.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, check out the Sonic one. We're talking a little bit about what could be expected in some of the future movies. So
we're going to talk about it a bit. We're going to read through it tonight. We're actually going to read a Nolan Thunder article on the show tonight. It's going to be.
I think that's the first time. I'm honored. Thank you, good set.
Yeah. Well, usually it's just all my stuff. But now I got more people writing more things. It's a beautiful thing. We're building our team. And speaking of our team. It's Martin Stone, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, ready to ride once more with the Bro Hiram.
Bro Hiram, I love, and Trish.
I'm a bro. It's fine.
You are.
She's like you.
You pretty much are. I mean, you were always the only girl whenever we hung out, unless somebody happened to bring their girlfriend who would sit there awkwardly while you just talked like a guy with all of us.
Yeah, probably thought, oh, there's another girl. She's going to be easy to talk to. And then I was like, bah, 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 let me crack all these ridiculous jokes right along with them.
Ridiculous jokes and wrestling insider terminology.
Yeah,
yeah, it was fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, though, guys, I mean, one of my favorite people in the world. Lorne!
Hold on to your butt exits.
Yes, Lorne has coined the phrase butt exit as a new by the way, Lorne, I was also told that last week you made some reference to you made a reference that went over all of our heads. One of my friends told me. Oh God, I don't remember what it was. It was Eowyn the Fair that told me this, so she should comment in what your comment was that just nobody seemed to get.
I'm not sure what it was, but I'm anxious to find out. I'm sure it was clever.
Yeah. I think it was too.
It was your succulent Chinese meal of last week.
By the way, that's the thing that got the stream demonetized last week.
But that's such like, it's art.
And who owns that?
That is public footage that's whatever for jillions of years.
Yeah.
Who owns that? Like that's ridiculous. Oh, I was so mad. I was like, oh, what do we get dinged for? Probably like the trailer. Oh, yes. She said you made a Hitchhiker Guide reference to Wales. And none of us got it.
I don't remember exactly what the context was, but the comment was, oh, no, not again. But yeah, that is what I was doing.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. All right, guys. Let's get started. So we've got some super chats to read first. Of course, first, you and Kumi are checking in, gifting 1 Tooney Town TV membership. So congratulations to whoever got that. You now have exclusive early access to all Tooney Town videos and also access to exclusive content like our members-only live stream Mondays at 3 o'clock and Crime and Punishment with Trish and I, Kevin Apollo's rants, and more stuff. Like we're going to be doing our new show, which might be a one-time special, might be an ongoing thing that's going to be called Grown-Ass Men Meet Boy Meets World. Where we're just going to talk about Boy Meets World because it's one of my favorite shows. And I'm doing something on the wrestling Patreon this week. So I recently got in from Amazon the book Journey into Darkness, which is a novelization of the fictional character history of the wrestler Kane that tries to make everything work. And I'm going to be doing a Lorne Connor style audiobook reading on Patreon, one chapter at a time. So
that's awesome. I actually want to listen to that. That sounds like fun.
I remember the book is crazy. Like I remember it just being a wild and crazy book. The Undertaker and Kane is the single greatest wrestling story ever told, in my opinion. So I'm excited to do that. We're also going to be doing a watch along on the Patreon of Royal Rumble 1992. So if anybody wants to join me to do that, maybe either tomorrow or this weekend, let me know. You'll be into that.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Fun.
Oh, cool. All right. Tooney Town TV invasion of Tooney Town Wrestling. That'll be fun.
We're taking over.
We're taking over. BWO. Regina Sharp checking in for $5 says there's no need to fear because
Glom Gold, Glom Gold, Glom Gold, Glom Gold
is here. I love Regina Sharp because I always get to play that clip because of him. John Williams for $4.99 says, Kev, are you attending the con with Marvin crew or the ban on you still in place? Were you killing the Yogi Bear cosplayer thinking he was the real deal? No, you're not going to be at MegaCon.
No,
Right?
I will not be at MegaCon. I got kids.
Yeah.
I got kids.
Was it Brock Lesnar who was like, who cares about your kids?
Yes.
I don't care about your kids.
It does make me think of an episode of Bluey. I think that the dad decides that he's going to be a claw machine. So the kids ask him what he does with his time, and he goes, "Oh, I can't remember what it is," but he goes, "I have no children. My days are free and carefree."
John Williams also says $4.99 concept art showed the post-credit scene was originally different. It was going to be Eggman dressed like an emperor with Metal Sonic. Also, Amy saved Sonic from a mini egg bot.
Really?
That's interesting.
I've seen the art he's talking about. I thought that was a concept from what I had saw. I thought they were referring to as a concept for the post-credit scene of Sonic 2 to kind of set up the third one, but this is new to me. Thank you for the input, John.
Yeah, that's interesting. They probably didn't know if Jim Carrey was going to do the movie yet. So let's see. Oh, Johnny Cage checking in for $10. Can we get some love for Cyberpunk 2077? An absolute disappointment on release, but has since become an amazing game. No one had corrected that. I never played that one.
I missed out on it. I knew it was a buggy mess, but I heard it rebounded, and props to it. You know, it shows there could be potential down the line. I wish more games wouldn't be broken messes upon release, but hey, the game shows that if you have a competent team, they can make some magic happen. I think it's earned respect.
Well, I like hearing that. All right, guys, keep those super chats coming in. We will stop in between stories to talk about them. But like I said, we do break for super chats of $50 or more. So let us know, with your generosity. As I said, the show is fun, made for you and funded by you. But guys, we got to get into our first story, and it's a doozy. Yes, it's this week in Beau DeMayo. Because he's back, folks. Our favorite is back. And he is ticked off and just going at Marvel and threatening to expose Kevin Feige. So fired Marvel showrunner Beau DeMayo indicates he'll expose Kevin Feige before court date, accuses Marvel of disregarding Black stories. Now that's interesting. Woke Marvel of all companies disregarding Black stories. Kevin, you're uniquely qualified to answer this question. Do you think Marvel disregards Black stories?
You know what? Marvel does not do a great job with Black stories.
They think that they do.
They think they do.
You know, Kevin Feige thinks that he's the champion of all oppressed people.
Yes. Kevin, I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige has a dashiki underneath his stupid baseball hat.
So I got a question then, because this is actually an interesting question. If you were going to highlight, let's say, somebody other than Black Panther for Marvel, what is the character that you would want to run, and what story would you want to tell? I got my pick. I'm curious who yours is.
You know, it's hard because they haven't done anything with the X-Men, so I'm just kind of like biding my time. But I would be kind of I would kind of be leaning into Storm and Bishop because we've gave Falcon a nice run and kind of derailed him a little bit.
I'm actually surprised. I was sure that you were going to pick Luke Cage.
Well, I have a hard. I just have a hard time with it because they did such a good but terrible job with Luke Cage on the Netflix show.
They really did. What a perfect way to describe it too, because Mike Coulter is a fantastic Luke Cage, but
yeah, and honestly, it's one of those things where like when they did Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, it always reminds me of what Bendis did to Luke Cage when he reintroduced the character in Alias, and it was like to me it was disgusting.
The reason why he's with Jessica Jones.
Yeah. It's like he had grills.
She could take it.
Yeah, she. Luke Cage was being characterized as something he'd never been characterized before, and then they're together because she has a superpower to withstand a proctology exam.
So, my pick would be the Michael Collins Deathlock. He is one of my favorite Marvel characters ever, but I don't feel he's ever been done right.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice deep. I love you, man. That's a nice good deep cut.
Deathlock was honestly, I was a DC guy, but Marvel was my guilty pleasure, and Deathlock was one of the huge ones when they introduced that in the 4-issue limited series before he got his full series.
Yeah.
I had every one of those comic books from series beginning to cancellation. They switched artists in the middle, and I hated whoever the one artist was. It was really sloppy. I can't remember who it was. Drove me nuts, but loved the character, and I've always wanted to see him done justice.
That's awesome.
Anyway, in the fair hit the nail on the head. Kevin, you're uniquely qualified to not get us in trouble.
Behold your ebony shield.
Oh my goodness. So let's have a look at what Mr. DeMayo is saying today. In recent developments that further spotlight his tumultuous relationship with Marvel Studios, former X-Men 97 showrunner Beau DeMayo has leveled serious accusations against the studio's handling of Black stories and talent. On social media, DeMayo responded to conversations about the upcoming Marvel project Wonder Man, which controversially features a race swap protagonist, a black version of the historically white character, which nobody's really talking about. But the comment he replied to questioned whether the show was going to be satire, and he said, "I really want this show to be good. But this makes sense as Marvel Studios does not take black people or our stories seriously. How could they when you have top execs making race jokes about black writers in notes, meetings, or saying, well, you could pitch that because you're black?" Well, that's kind of like what I just said to Kev.
I was just thinking that.
I swear I didn't do that on purpose.
But that's not taking, to me, it's more like laughing at yourself as a not black person being like, well, it's kind of like what you just did. Do you know what I mean? It's not about not taking the black person serious. If anything, it's about kind of poking fun at yourself, knowing that it's kind of awkward for you to do it. But
it's always fun. I always think the self-deprecating humor of, well, I'm not allowed to say that is always like a fun little, way to poke at yourself. I guess Beau DeMayo doesn't agree with me. Gosh, surprise, surprise. I thought we had so much in common. Expressing both. This reflects his deep-seated frustration with what he perceives as a pattern of racial insensitivity and systemic bias within Marvel Studios, an organization known for race pandering and virtue signaling. Now, his critique resonates with his broader disconnect with Marvel following his firing from X-Men 97. That separation was clouded by allegations that DeMayo sent inappropriate photos of himself to male staff members, which is, a allegation that DeMayo has repeatedly denied. Sorry, it needed to happen again. So go ahead.
I don't know what to make of Beau because it's kind of weird. There's the allegations against him, and there's the allegations of racism that he's making here. But at the same time, I think he's making a lot of good points in some of the posts that he's making. He's clearly a geek and into these properties. He's an interesting fellow. I just don't know what to make of him.
I agree with you.
I 100% agree with you. Like, clearly, there's a lot of passion here. Clearly, he has a legitimate axe to grind in some spots, and he does make excellent points. It kind of makes me wonder. I'm trying to think of how to put a disclaimer on this, but it kind of makes me wonder who knew what about his potential habits and was like, we don't really care, until it became time for someone to need to care. We're only upset because it's convenient to be upset about it.
Well, based on what we heard, there's rumors that he was fired for the same reasons from The Witcher, right? Which I'm sure he would deny.
Oh, is that what he?
I hadn't heard any of that.
I
had heard that a while back. Martin might have heard it from me, but
my rule of thumb on Hollywood being upset is it usually is because we know now, not because something actually went wrong.
Because got caught.
Yeah, Hollywood gets upset and indignant when everybody else knows what Hollywood did.
Of course, I look at what's his face, Harvey Weinstein. Everybody knew. Seth MacFarlane was making jokes about it. At award shows, and everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, you don't have to pretend to be attracted to him anymore."
I wish you could pull up that clip because it is very telling. Seth MacFarlane goes for the kill, and everybody in the room's like, "What's he doing?" And he's like, "I don't care. What's he gonna do to me?"
Yeah.
But see, this is actually kind of the interesting thing about Beau, in a way, is that I am curious to see what comes out if this goes to trial, whatever is said. But I get the impression that Beau is a guy that you probably could sit down and have lunch with and have a fascinating conversation. Where a lot of these people, I don't get that impression, and that makes him. It's interesting. I don't think I would agree with him about pretty much anything, but I think you'd get an interesting talk with him. So
it seems like the thing that I said. Go ahead, Nolan.
He just seems like a dude that you could have like a good, smart conversation with, even with differing opinions, which is why I think he would be a fantastic guest star on the show. So, Beau, if you're watching, please hit me up, bro. Hit me up.
I think that's one of the great things about fandom, that all six of us come from different walks of life, but we all can connect on different things that we find interesting about, pop culture, comic books, supernatural, baking shows, whatever. But there are people I talk with about, classic literature. I agree with nothing on about what they say outside of that. And even inside of it, we have discussions where we differ. But because it's a passion we have, we're friends.
Absolutely.
And you can come to respect the differing opinions, vastly differing opinions in other things in life when you really get to know the person.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, Kev, I have pulled up that clip. Hold on one second.
While you're pulling that up, if I could follow up one thing Martin was saying, it just shows how much society has conditioned everybody to anytime there's a different viewpoint from you, you all of a sudden can't be their friend anymore. Yeah. Whereas I think it's very healthy to have friends with very different opinions from you.
Of course, that's how that's how things. Oh, hello to all you people coming over from T3PO. Just so the T3PO raid has occurred. I was wondering why we shot up in viewership. All right, so here it is. Seth MacFarlane all the way back in 2013.
The 2012 nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role are Sally Field in Lincoln, Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables, Jackie Weaver in Silver Linings Playbook, Helen Hunt in The Sessions, and Amy Adams in The Master. Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Look how uncomfortable she is.
Well, because she still has to pretend.
Because she still has to pretend to be attracted to him, yeah. By the way, I love Seth MacFarlane's not giving a damn, because look, here is another here's another one. These are my favorites.
My God, Chris, look! The crown jewel of hotel breakfasts. The suites at the Point, at the Quahog, at the Harbor, at the Promenade, at the Goofy Squirrel.
I'm not a part of the sign, but I am a little nutty.
That's our next target.
I don't like it. I hear that breakfast buffet is like Fort Knox.
I'll figure out a way in. After all, I snuck into Brian Singer's birthday party.
Excuse me, how old are you?
Not of legal age anywhere in the world.
Tell whoever you want. Weirdly, no one cares about this.
My God.
Have fun. Tell whoever you want. Weirdly, nobody cares about this. Like, bravo.
And would you look at that, Brian Singer front and center on the recommended page there?
Of course he was. All right, so now here's the thing. Here's the thing about Beau, and I said this on the HCast earlier today. Beau was, I think they were willing to overlook a lot with Beau because Beau was their dream. He was a black gay guy who was actually talented and actually had a passion for the source material. They were able to check the boxes, but also hire someone for merit. Because here's the thing about Beau: as much as you might not like a lot of the things that he says, or does, he's very good at his job. X-Men 97 was very good. I have a ton of respect for the man's talent. I don't think we would get along very well in real life. Just based on kind of the way. But here, somebody else who he would not get along with very well is the guy that he's responding to here, Yellow Flash, who says woke whites are the fakest of them all. And he said, there's truth to this. Worst racism I've experienced in my life has been from, quote, well-meaning woke white people. They're also oddly the least receptive to constructive criticism and feedback on how they can do better. Could you imagine like Beau DeMayo gives you a performance review as a white person and how you're dealing with black people? So then somebody asked, is Kevin Feige one of these people? And he said, I can't say at this juncture, but will once the court date is closer.
Which is big, code guys. For settle.
Yeah,
settle.
Give me money, guys. That's a biggie, man. That is a real biggie. Oh, I just saw Ronan Bunny said Ted season 2 is wrapping up production. By the way, if you really want to laugh, the Ted series on Peacock is legitimately the funniest show I've seen in the last 5 years. Like I laughed until I cried at that show when they're throwing the eggs at the trick-or-treaters. The kid in the Hulk costume. The Hulk doesn't wear a shirt that says Hulk on it. And then when he hits Ted with the egg by mistake, and he's like, "Is this what we've been doing to people? We were wrong, Johnny. We were wrong." I laughed so hard at that. The whole show is just fantastic. You guys got to watch it. But so previously, DeMayo's attorney Brian Friedman filed a lawsuit against Marvel Studios in September, seeking to invalidate the non-disparagement provision in DeMayo's separation agreement with the company. Well, if there's a non-disparagement provision in that agreement, then he has violated it multiple times over. My goodness. Friedman contends that the clause violates new California law designed to limit the scope of non-disclosure agreements, particularly those that could prevent employees from disclosing information about unlawful acts in the workplace, such as harassment or discrimination. His recent comments about Marvel not taking Black stories seriously adds a new layer to his ongoing dispute with the studio. When confronted with questions about Marvel's commitment to its upcoming projects, such as the live-action reboot of the X-Men series, DeMayo recounted a troubling incident from his time at X-Men 97. He alleged that Marvel executives attempted to recast Storm for the show, initially rejecting legendary voice actress Alison Seeley Smith, who brought the character to life in animation back in the 90s. This was reportedly because she didn't sound, quote, African enough, according to DeMayo. Then he said it was odd hearing a table of white Marvel execs tell me and other black crew members that we were wrong because she didn't sound African enough, whatever that means. We went with their pick, and then they realized we were right and forced the team to break their backs, re-recording half the season with the OG Storm. So, how could you do this show without that version of Storm? I mean, who didn't like she was the voice that everyone did. Everyone did two voices from X-Men. Everyone did the Charles Xavier and everyone did I am Storm, Mistress of the Elephants. This is what we used to say, Mistress of the Elephants. But
they also recast Jubilee.
Well, they had to do that because she wasn't Asian.
Yes.
And God forbid.
See, when X-Men 97 came out, I was a DC reader. I didn't read a whole lot of X-Men stuff. I didn't even know Jubilee was Asian.
I didn't realize it either.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't either. No, but they did, when Jubilee meets older Jubilee, it is played by the original Jubilee, which I thought that was a nice thing. You know what? I actually don't mind the recast because also I would have much rather they recasted Rogue than have her go from hey there, sugar, to hello there, Sonny. Oh, hold on, I got a butterscotch at the bottom of my bag for you. Like she sounded like old Mother Hubbard. I hated it. The first time she spoke, I was like, what is that?
For the record, I would like a butterscotch from the bottom of your bag.
They're delicious. They're wonderful.
That was when my grandmother would offer you the candy, whenever you were feeling nauseous in the car, my grandmother would offer you a candy or a bag to throw up in if you had to, and that was the trigger. The second, no matter who it was, the second she offered the candy, you threw up.
I am past the old man stage where it's I love me some Werther's Original. You got some Werther's Original, I will eat them all. I'll take every last one you got.
Just make sure, they're in the plastic wrap. They don't do the thing where they take them all the plastic, they put them in a bowl, and it gets really hot, and they all stick together.
Look, X-Men 97 cast, there's nobody that reads a Marvel book and does not imagine that voice for Storm. There's no one that doesn't imagine that voice for Wolverine, Xavier. I mean, I even imagine the Magneto voice all the time. That is the definitive voice cast. Pam Epson says, I sometimes worry about Lorne. But
Werther's are good, and you're never going to change my mind.
Yeah, die on that hill. But even the ones they had to recast, like Cyclops, for example, he didn't sound like the original Cyclops, but he had the cadence of his voice perfectly. So, it made for a good thing. But yeah, guys, that is what's up with our friend Beau DeMayo. Sorry.
You serious?
I had to play it.
You made a mistake, right?
Yes.
By hitting it. Yeah.
No, I meant to do that, Trish. It was,
Well, sorry.
No, I'm saying I'm being too manly to admit that I made the mistake. It's
sorry. Did we know that he was claiming that Marvel told anybody who was going to support him that they would essentially blackball them at one of the cons?
I did not hear that.
Okay, because in one of the things that he responded to, he made direct mention to it, and I was like, I don't remember hearing that before. Did I just accidentally get some breaking news?
I don't think that would be out of character for Disney. That wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
Certainly not. That's actually right in Disney's playbook, I would say.
It's amazing how much these mega media corporations are like catty girls in middle school.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Hold on one second. I am just gifting some memberships real quick. And
Oh, here we go. Marvel has a terrifying publicity machine that will crush their careers, and as they tried to do with me at Comic-Con by telling independent panels that they will withdraw support if they promoted me. They blacklist you.
This is why this dude is great for doing X-Men, because the way you were reading that summary kind of sounded like an X-Men character introduction. This guy will crush you at every opportunity.
To me, my X-Men. Oh man! All right, let's get to some super chats, and then we will hop into some news about Star Wars casting. We've got a little bit of Star Wars casting news.
Oh, Ryan, don't.
No, we're not talking about that one. We're not talking about that one yet. We'll talk about that maybe next week. We can touch on it. But you and Cumia gifted 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. Thank you very much, you and Cumia. That was very generous of you. And congratulations to those who have it. Remember, if you've given a gifted membership, guys, it does expire automatically at the end of the month. You have to actually re-up it if you want to keep going. Double A for $1.99 says, "Will Tia Hima?" Greatest promo of all time. Go ahead, Trish, do it. I know you want to do it.
I absolutely do not want to do it, but I did think of it when you said it before. So,
with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest night of my life.
His kids are sitting home being like, wait, what?
What?
I'll stand by it.
I'm here. I was born. I wasn't there for that.
That was a pretty good day, though. I had relations with lots of people that weren't your mother that night.
Relations. Ugh.
Oh man, John Williams for $1.99 says Alias, you could tell, was made just to have an 18+ comic. Yes, and Bendis was like, it's an 18+ comic, so I have to be outrageous. Ronan Bunny for $1.99 says Captain America: The Falcon Awakens, and yes, we will be talking about that in a little bit because there might be some deceptive marketing practices going on around this movie, just based on things that I'm hearing. Ryan Damon for $5 says J. August Richard, who was Charles Gunn on Angel, was a decent Deathlock, but he wasn't used enough in the series. Bring back Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in canon. I tapped out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. way too quick.
I think they quasi-canonized Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when everything got canonized. They acknowledge it without acknowledging it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Lauren, did you appreciate Deathlock in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. I was glad that Deathlock appeared in something, but it was not my Deathlock. It was not the way that I would have done Deathlock. Part of what I loved about Deathlock, or at least the Michael Collins Deathlock, was that he was not the original one, but he was a pacifist locked into this war machine. And in the comic, first of all, when his brain gets put in the thing, he's obviously separated from his son and his family. And this is horrible for him. He loves his son and he wants to be there as an example for him. But besides that, he's constantly having this comical conversation with the computer that is his shell, basically, that wants to kill everything. And he's constantly having to argue with it and say, look, that's not what we're going to do. And that was where a lot of the humor in the comic came from. It was great. I loved everything about it.
The only thing I remember about Deathlock was, do you guys remember those Marvel cards where like it would form a page, like the cards would all come together to form a scene, like in the page of your binder? Kevin, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I had series 1 through 4.
No one, stop nodding. You don't know. You weren't even alive yet. You're muted, Nolan.
You muted, Nolan.
I know what you mean. I bought comic books. I have Sonic the Hedgehog issue 0. Thank you very much.
This isn't a comic book. These are trading cards.
Oh, well, I thought you meant the comic binders. Okay, yep.
Yeah, exactly. I told you had no idea what I'm...
You know what?
eBay is a thing.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the concept of it. It's all right.
So I was obsessed.
Thank you, Trish.
I was obsessed with getting all of them. Cyclops was insanely hard to get, but the other card that I just could not find for the life of me was Deathlock. and it took me forever to get a Deathlock. We learned how Nolan is a zygote last week.
Maybe it took you forever because you didn't know what eBay was.
eBay didn't exist yet, Nolan.
Nolan.
There was something called
nice here's a net on Tooney Town.
I didn't have the internet in my house yet. That's why I collected trading cards.
You want to see how old people can get? Find the people who talk about Usenet.
Never even heard of that.
Now I'm hurt. Stop it.
Regina Sharp for $5 says Beau kept that crappy purple Magneto costume. I trust him a lot more than I trust anyone else Disney related.
I love that Magneto costume, man.
With the big M on his big M on him.
80s Magneto costume. Yep. I love that costume. I know I'm in the minority.
I thought it was fine. I prefer the traditional Magneto costume a lot more though with the helmet.
You can tell he loves the source material. Did you guys see in that picture, the picture he used of him in that Marvin, that I was just gawking at the like Magneto helmet he had in the background on display. I was like, oh, that's so freaking cool, dude.
John Williams, member for 2 months, says Stewie saying, "Help! I escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement." That was Family Guy. Once again, going at these jokes long before anyone was telling them, and long before it was, it's just clear that all of this was common knowledge in Hollywood. They did that joke, and then remember they did the joke where it was they said something about Bruce Jenner being a woman, and Brian goes, "Bruce Jenner's a man." He goes, "No, Brian. Bruce Jenner is a beautiful, stunning woman." And they had Bruce Jenner like walk out with like feather boas. There was actually something that like they got really wrong, and they literally acknowledged it. Like, look, I know that we got this one wrong, but you have to admit we were years ahead of everyone on this. And they played the Bruce Jenner clip again. Oh God, years before anybody knew. Go and Shogi gifted 1 Tooney Town TV membership. Thank you very much. And of course, I gifted 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. Oh, and I see some more super chats have come in. Regina Sharp for $5. The costume was crappy, but damn it, we loved it anyway. I'm editing a bit there. That's what I do. It's my job. BPE gifted $20. Thank you very much.
Pulling the BPE.
Tell a quick story.
Yeah,
I had an English teacher, and there were 2 English teachers in my old high school. They both were going to be priests. One had actually gotten pretty far into the process, but my teacher was like, I got older and I discovered women, and unlike that old fool Collins, and so when it came time to teaching us the difference between vulgarity and profanity, he goes, "All right, I'm going to say it to you so that you guys understand it. That's not vulgarity, G, damn it. That's profanity. Figure it out." Because he dropped the GD, and the using the Lord's name in vain was the part that made it profanity.
Oh, okay. Was he immediately excommunicated?
Oh no, because it was a different time and we laughed and we had fun. Unlike these soft little whims that exist.
We're allowed to make jokes about things.
Yeah.
That was a great stellar
Mr. Jamie Jam for $1.99 says, "I too have Sonic issue 0. Therefore, Nolan, you are not as special as you think you are."
Wow. Wow.
Never had CompuServe AOL. I had AOL.
Yeah, I had AOL too.
Was there anything better than hearing "you've got mail"? And now, like when I see I have email, I'm like, oh, what is it? Usually 50 million things that I don't want to actually open. All right, let's see what do we got now. Okay, let's get into this Star Wars stuff. So let's go to so we have some confirmed casting and we have some rumored casting. Rumored casting that's also under some, some people are saying it's not true. So the confirmed casting, Balin Skoll has been recast for Ahsoka Season 2 with Game of Thrones alum set to join the Star Wars series, but will anyone watch? This is by Raven Redgrave over there on That Park Place, also known as Writing Raven, over on the Gothic Therapy YouTube channel with their husband, Master of the TDS, and we love them on this channel. So Ahsoka Season 2 is moving forward at Lucasfilm and Disney+. Fan favorite character Balin Skoll, one of the only popular characters to come out of that show, has reportedly been recast, replacing the late Ray Stevenson with Game of Thrones actor Rory McCann, aka The Hound. Guys, Balin Skoll probably... Lauren, how did you feel about Balin Skoll? Because I felt he was like the one redeeming factor in that show.
Yeah, he was. He was great. Ray Stevenson was great in anything he ever appeared in. And if you have not seen Rome or his version of The Punisher, go out and watch it. But, and again, I think this is fine recasting. Still not going to watch.
Yeah. You know, I went back. I recently rewatched the first scene where they kind of do like the inverted. It's almost like an inverted Phantom Menace opening, where him and his apprentice go into that place. They like just decimate everybody on that trade. I don't know if it was a Trade Federation ship or whatever, but I think no, I'm thinking of the Acolyte. But they decimate everybody, and I think I just remember watching it and be like, wow, this was actually a really good scene. That apprentice was just a blank slate girl boss character, but she was cool in that scene because she had like she was doing cool stuff, and his dialogue was good, right, Lauren?
I actually liked Shin Hati as well because she put some effort into the stunts, and the vibe that I got from her was similar to Darth Maul in the sense that she's a true believer, and I think that gives you something to work with. Their introduction was great, but it all fell apart within 5 minutes when they got onto the bridge of the ship.
Mm-hmm. What happens when they get on the bridge of the ship? I don't remember.
Oh, there was well, for one thing, the set looked cheap. I don't know if you remember that. It looked like they had no budget to be building ships in this show. And if I remember right, it was kind of the girl boss ship or girl boss captain confronting them and getting cut down, if I remember right. That may have been later in the show. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I just remember that in the beginning, it starts off looking like it's going to be good. And then I always thought it was really weird how cheap the rest of the show looked, especially the Ghost. If you look at the Ghost cockpit, it does not look like they spent any money on it at all. It looks honestly like they're lighting it in such a way to obscure how cheap it is. It looked like something that was built in somebody's garage, and it was too small. And so I kind of wondered, where did the budget for this show go? It can't all be blue makeup.
Right. I remember being cautiously optimistic about Ahsoka, even though I don't like Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I was the person screaming from the rooftops, you could have just put Ashley Eckstein in the makeup. She's the right age, and she'll at least sound like Ahsoka. I thought Rosario Dawson, just she's just not Ahsoka. She's just this dour, sour thing. And I remember having hope for it though, because I love Rebels. I really love Rebels. I actually put Rebels above Clone Wars in a lot of places. There's some Clone Wars arcs that I think are better than Rebels, but as a whole show, I like Rebels more than I like Clone Wars. I thought the Vader stuff was fantastic, and I thought they did Thrawn pretty well when he first showed up. Then they did him horribly, and which I'm wondering what happened, because it's the same guy making both shows. So why is one good and one is just terrible?
I don't want to speculate on that. I will say that I think Rosario was fine as Ahsoka when she had her cameo in the second season of The Mandalorian. I thought she did fine there. I think that the issue with her playing Ahsoka is not so much Rosario Dawson. I think it's the direction and the writing. And whatever happened there, I think there's a plausible case to be made that Filoni is fine when he does his animated stuff. He's not handling live action well. And I think that he does get over obsessed with his own characters. And I think that was the real tragedy of Ahsoka, is that he wanted to elevate them to the level of the Heir to the Empire characters, and they don't belong at that level. They are mid-tier characters. They're not main characters driving the galactic narrative forward. And it doesn't matter how many cameos you try to bring in from those characters, it's not going to elevate them to that level. That's not where they're supposed to be.
When it comes to Filoni, I was saying this on Mr. H earlier, that I think that the problem with Star Wars and like Disney Star Wars, I said the reason why the only person to ever make good Star Wars was George is because George is the only person that never geeked out because he was making Star Wars.
Well, I think the way I would say that is that George was making movies that happened to take place in the Star Wars universe, and everybody else is trying to make a Star Wars movie.
Or they're trying specifically to not make a Star Wars movie. Because my thing is, you have two different creators here. You have the ones that are so in love with Star Wars and in love with the idea that they're making Star Wars, and you have the ones that hate Star Wars and want to take it in a completely different direction and fundamentally change what it is. Like, you get what I'm saying, Lauren?
Yeah. I think the innovation that George had for the original Star Wars, A New Hope, was that he wanted to shoot a documentary style. And if you watch some of the cut scenes, he kind of overdid that, and they saved that part in the editing. But his sensibility was right. It was that this is a real universe, and the camera just happens to be here capturing it. And I think that's what gave it the charm that made it something bigger than what a traditional space opera would have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, Baylan, like, I'm glad they're not just abandoning Baylan's skull. Like, I was really afraid they were going to do that thing that Marvel did with Black Panther, where they just dropped the character for no reason, because the actor died.
There's no politically correct reason for them to do that.
They can't. The end of the show was showing the end of the show was showing the gods of Mortis and him approaching whatever that area was. They can't abandon that plot line.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't surprise me if you see in the next season that Baylan's skull, I'm going to guess, is not going to survive for very long, and Shin Hati is going to be elevated.
I hope not, because I really liked him. Ray Stevenson did such. I'm glad you mentioned his Punisher Warzone, because that movie really captured the Punisher well. I very much enjoyed that film. I didn't like the guy that played Jigsaw. That was the only thing.
I was about to say that Jigsaw I didn't think was all that good in that one, but yeah, you can't have everything.
He was a good Punisher, though. I thought he was very good.
I can't be the only person who hears Baylan's skull and think of skull tobacco, right?
All right, you guys ready for the rumored casting, which some people are trying to say is not real and some people are swearing is real?
Oh, I was hoping we were going to talk about the difference between him and the Hound, because I think it's
okay.
I understand, like Ray Stevens was just a big man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big dude, with a lot of personality, but they're such different actors. They both have a lot of gravitas, but they're very different actors. So I think it's a fascinating choice. But I'm just going to be really interested to see how fans receive it. It's almost like I was trying to think of a show that had like a major casting change where someone was playing a beloved character.
Second Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, maybe?
No.
Yeah. Same kind of reason, too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, and it's I mean, they found a great actor. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who didn't actually like the Hound.
The Hound is, and even when Game of Thrones sucked, the Hound was still cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Clegane Bowl was still cool. Like that moment still felt earned. I love the Hound. He's my favorite character on that show.
Kevin, what you were saying, I'm sorry, were you finished?
No, I was done.
Okay. What you were saying about casting is soap operas.
Yeah.
Like, think about like someone left a role and then maybe there was a gap, but then someone else filled the shoes when it came back, and then it's like, well, I like this one and I like that one, and there's a little bit of that. So
Dimitri 1 versus Dimitri 2.
Yeah, stuff like that, new lives.
Joey is Dr. Drake Tribbiani.
Don't even get started on Roman from Days of Our Lives.
I kind of want to get you started on Roman from Days of Our Lives.
All right, Trish, are you done? Are you done commandeering the show now? Can I have it back?
Sorry that I wanted to contribute during the Star Wars conversation that I can never really contribute to. My apologies.
Tell him, Trish,
for wanting to be involved in the proceedings.
No, I just wanted to say that Trish was trying to stage a mutiny so that I could play this.
Don't use me to segue your clips, sir.
We had a running gag from Tuesday where I kept accusing Dis of trying to stage a mutiny.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, you were. I was just trying to make it fun for the people that watch both shows. Now, Trish, obviously, I'm happy whenever you contribute. We do have a Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively story coming up later. So,
oh yes, my favorite
that's
drama on TV.
what I like to call the
internet.
Trish time to shine. Yes,
it is.
Yeah, Lauren, what's going on with Days of Our Lives?
My mom used to watch that soap when I was a little kid, and so I got stuck watching it, and I hated the show, but I learned an awful lot about it. She watched the show right up until the point when Marlena got possessed by the devil, and then she swore it off and never watched it again.
It's too much for her. She would have hated Passions.
My great aunt would.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. My great aunt would come over and watch Guiding Light, and right when I'm getting home from school, stuck watching this show. Hated that show. Like my great aunt though.
I remember scrolling through the channels during the summer when I was with my friends, and we found a soap opera, and it was a woman who was possessed by the devil, and it was in like a hospital, and she was like whooping the crap out of some dude. And we were like little kids, and we all got so scared by it that we were all wearing crucifixes the next day.
Well, this is actually kind of the awesome thing, is that I've always thought that comic books are just soap operas for boys, and they have all of the same tropes. It's just done in a different way. And so I guess I have a greater appreciation for soap operas now that I'm older and can see the parallels.
I've always thought that of wrestling. Wrestling is soap operas with testosterone.
And I've always said wrestling is a comic book. So it all fits together. If soap operas are comic books and comic books are wrestling and wrestling is a soap opera, then it's all basically the same thing.
We need a Venn diagram, like right now.
Yeah.
Somebody call Kamala.
Right. You and QB is like, don't compare Trish to Dis. Because it would be an insult to Trish.
I've never met this Dis person.
I thought this wasn't on when you were on with us on the wrestling channel. Or
no,
was that awful?
It was awful, and Mish. I remember the name because Mish and Trish rhyme. So I remember the name.
Hey, when the fan goes, Smallville, aka all my Kryptonians.
All my children's my jam. Still miss it.
She's not wrong about that with Smallville.
Sync up with the intro.
Somebody say, I love that song. I tried to do that in karaoke one time. It was a terrible mess. That song's not there. Yeah.
Bless you, sir.
It was bad. I was very intoxicated at the time. And my one friend who's a big Superman fan also was just like, you should sing the Smallville theme. And I was like, yeah, I could do anything.
There was a clip of this old woman at karaoke doing Dragula, and she was into it, and she knew all the words. I was like, that's gonna be me one day. She was awesome. Coolest grandmother I've ever seen.
Okay, go to karaoke song. Who here does karaoke?
I don't do it, but
all right. Anybody?
I have.
What was your go-to song, Lauren?
The one I got stuck doing was Eye of the Tiger, believe it or not.
I do like that. Typically for me, it's anything Elvis or Darius. Go ahead.
If I get to pick, it's Elvis, but
yeah,
I got stuck doing Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, it depending on how I'm feeling that night, whether it's an upbeat Elvis song or a ballad. If it's,
I was gonna say, if it's a little drunky, is it Are You Lonesome Tonight?
No, my Elvis go-tos were Can't Help Falling in Love with You, back when I was in bars trying to get laid. And so it's like I'm gonna siren you with my voice. It worked a couple times. And then Blue Hawaii was my other one, because when I was in a music theory class and we watched Blue Hawaii, and I thought it was the funniest movie I've ever seen.
His movies are great. It's honestly that you can have so much fun watching old Elvis movies.
I love his movies. But if I was like really feeling froggy that night, it would be Jailhouse Rock.
Ooh, good man.
Yeah. Darius Rucker Wagon Wheel was another Marv go-to. One time I sang The Nations of the World as sung by Yakko Warner at a 90s karaoke night and brought the house down. And then I did it again at my wedding because we had like a karaoke machine. And I was like, hey guys, look what I can do. And I went United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still I lose it after that. But I need the actual thing.
Actually, this reminded me, Kevin. Actually, I feel like Martin will laugh at this. Ryan and I once joked, our friend Ryan, that we would do "Close My Eyes Forever" by Ozzy Osbourne and Lena Ford if we ever had to do like karaoke together. And so now I can't listen to that song without thinking about that.
Oh God,
I've done Back in Black.
Oh, have you really?
I have. I used to be able to do the falsetto scream. And I've done so. Back in Black was another one that would be, I don't know, but every once in a while I'll get roped into doing like a Meatloaf song or something.
Oh, nice.
Something big and grandiose.
Yeah.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Which he said once was eat a salad as a joke, which I thought was very funny.
I'll tell you what though, give me a number. If we make X amount in super chats tonight, maybe I'll do The Nations of the World as sung by Yakko Warner. I don't know. Throw out a number. What should we do?
I don't know.
What are we currently at?
I would have to add it all up, but talk amongst yourselves quickly. I'm sure you guys got something to talk about.
Let me think about this because that song is just the names of the nations of the world as they were at that time, right?
Yes.
It's not copyrightable, right?
I
And
don't
the music
think
is public
so.
domain.
And even then, if you're doing a cover, it's still,
All right.
So
this is democracy manifest.
I showed Mrs. Stone that
Chinese view.
I watched it like 3 times after we talked about it.
I thought you were about to say I watch it 3 times a day. I'm like, good answer.
Did you guys watch the video where they caught up to him like 20 years later to do an interview? Where he's selling paintings of himself being arrested by himself.
It's incredible.
Oh man.
He was actually a pretty good painter. Kind of an interesting fellow. Definitely a con man, but you kind of forgive him for it because he's so charming. It's like, well, go ahead and dine and dash. I don't care. You're too entertaining.
Let it slide, buddy.
All right, so we're at $145 right now. So I'm going to say if we get to 300 tonight, I'll do it.
All right.
All right, you heard him, chat. Let's make this happen.
Make it so.
Yeah. I guess so, number one. All right, you ready for the other?
Wait. Hold on. I don't want to forget this. Not to derail anything, but there's a comment here from Firestreak Rodney's PR. This is, I need to bring up that Undertaker comic from Chaos Comics for Marvin to remember. I don't entirely know what that means, but I didn't want to not acknowledge that comment.
Wait,
so
what was it?
I need to bring up the Undertaker comic from Chaos. I just got away from the comment from Chaos Comics for Marvin to remember. So,
it's so
I'm
good.
doing my due diligence here.
The Undertaker comic was amazing. Didn't they turn Paul Bearer into like a kid toucher?
What?
Or something like that?
You literally back-to-back sentences was that comic was amazing. Didn't they turn Paul Bearer into a kid toucher? You needed more space between those two sentences.
You know what? I think it was like a bunch of kids like accidentally go into Paul Bearer's house and he's like gonna kill them or something. It was something with Paul Bearer like creeping on kids, and I remember being
you
like,
think I forgot where you live?
You think I forgot where you live?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Kevin and I watched that on repeat.
Didn't we see something about like Amazon doing a Undertaker Kane series like about
Netflix?
Really?
Okay. Was that true? Was that not true? Did we ever get verification?
I hope to God it's true.
That's crazy.
Because they did the Big Show show, right?
They did.
Big Show.
I love the
By the way, the Big Show is excellent. There's no
Is that what
problem
it's
with
called?
the Big Show.
Yeah, it's called the Big Show Show.
Oh my god, that's amazing. The Big Show Show.
But before we get to the next one, I feel the need to just share one thing. So much. Oh, that's gonna get us demonetized tonight, but it's okay.
Probably okay. There was no sound.
Yeah, there's no sound on it, so you're fine.
Oh, what was there? No sound?
There was no sound.
Yeah, you couldn't hear us. I don't think we were like, "There's no sound on it."
We were memeing on it for like a minute.
I was wondering why
It's
no
okay,
one was
we made it
talking
work.
over
It's fine.
I heard.
Yeah, Kevin was narrating.
Oh, okay. I think I forgot where you live.
Guys, but before you get on to the next thing, I got to get out of here. I've got to go.
All right,
but-
Lauren. Well, tell the good folks where they can find out what you're up to.
You can find me on this stream every week on Thursdays. You can find me on WDW Pro frequently. I'm on the Genre Guys with Lou Wasserman's Ghost and the Hangry Table. I'm at the Lauren Connor on X and Lauren Connor 9030 on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Lauren. We love you. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye, Lauren.
Hi, Lord.
All right. So, rumor: Star Wars may bring Natalie Portman back to reprise Padme Amidala for Ahsoka season 2.
Oh, because there's an alleged like super Clone Wars scene, right?
Yeah.
Why was she
So, YouTuber Christian Harloff claims that Portman is in talks to reprise her role as Padme in the second season of Ahsoka. If true, this would mark her first appearance in the Star Wars universe since 2005's Revenge of the Sith. Harloff reports that Dave Filoni, the creator and showrunner of Ahsoka and Lucasfilm chief creative officer, is eager to bring Portman back into the fold. This rumor comes on the heels of other casting buzz, including the possible returns of Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and Ariana Greenblatt as young Ahsoka. According to Harloff, a deal with Portman is close to being finalized. However, Star Wars Newsnet, a site dedicated to Star Wars news and information, reports that Portman is not in negotiations to return. So we've got some discrepancy here with this rumor, and we will see what's going on with that.
I
What do you
just
guys
don't see
think?
why she would bother, honestly.
I don't either. She didn't like being in it when she was in it.
Yeah.
She,
Why
she's
would
still...
she? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nolan.
Oh, I'm like, why would she be in this? Isn't she still signed for like 2 other MCU movies at this point? Because didn't they sign her for like a package deal or something?
No,
What else
she
could
very
she
much
be
died
in?
at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Spoilers, but
I do wonder if they're going to get the de-aging technology from Ahsoka or the de-aging technology from Obi-Wan. Because
Whoa.
Hayden Christensen, his Force Ghost was a little different.
it was. It very much was.
I was
All
gonna say,
right.
too, time tends to heal old wounds. She may be open to it, and I was gonna say, if it was anybody other than Christian Harloff, I wouldn't pay any attention to this. But you know, he is pretty good, and he was in the "we favor you" journalist circle until he wasn't. But
Right. Let's get to some more super chats real quick. Ray for $5 says, "Good day, Tooney Town fam. Hope y'all are doing well." Hello, Ray. Hope you're doing well as well. John Williams for $4.99 says Ray Stevenson had a minor role in the other guys. He was the second best side character, barely beating Dirty Mike and the boys.
yes. I forgot to say this too. If you go back and watch The Accident Man, it's actually one of my favorite Ray Stevenson roles behind this Punisher and Rome. But he is phenomenal in Accident Man.
Awesome. All right. And then JPS, member for 4 months, says nothing can beat the original Clone Wars series. Look, there are arcs. There are arcs that are tremendous. There's the Night Sisters arc, the Ghosts of Mortis, like amazing stuff. But then
he's got to clarify which Clone Wars series.
Yeah, I thought he meant
Yes, I think he's talking about the original animated Clone Wars, the hand-drawn animation. I did love that with the Anakin Skywalker, Asajj Ventress first fight.
Mm-hmm.
And also the best version of General Grievous, bar none. I don't.
Have you ever
sorry,
seen,
baby. Go ahead. Sorry.
Have you ever seen like the Grievous? There's videos of Grievous in that show, and they put it to like Mr. Blue Sky.
Yes.
Or no, they always put it to Guardians of the Galaxy music. So the first one is the hey, what's the matter with? It's just him like chopping up Jedi, and they did Mr. Blue Sky to him killing all the Night Sisters in Tales of the Jedi.
Oh man, I love it when you can like faintly hear it in the distance when they're like going down the elevator trying to evade him. It's so good.
Oh, so you have seen that?
Oh yeah, no, I've seen some of the meme videos on it.
I don't know where it came from, but it works so well. Oh, man, I was so excited for Grievous when I saw the animated Clone Wars, the hand-drawn Clone Wars, because he was so insane in that, and then he just was not nearly as cool.
I will make an argument that after probably Darth Vader, that is probably the best Star Wars villain out of the decades that Star Wars has been around.
He's certainly one of the coolest concepts. Yeah, Martin, what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, of the second Clone Wars series, I never really got into it. It wasn't my thing. Can you recommend me a story arc that's going to get me into it?
I can recommend a couple of them. I'd have to actually sit down and look, but there's like an essential Clone Wars list that I can pull from. And that's the beauty of the Clone Wars is nothing is like in sequential order, so you can skip around.
Okay.
You don't have to watch everything.
Are you saying, Marvin, he needs to start out with the episode with the evil R2-D2?
No, please don't do that. There were
R2-D2 burns other droids alive in the main canon.
Yeah, it is true. I'm pretty sure there is an arc that's just Jar Jar and 3PO for a few episodes, which is like every Star Wars fan's worst nightmare.
Until it's revealed that they're both agents of the Sith.
Yes. Ryan Damon for $5 says, am I wrong? But in Ahsoka, they have a lot of women bending over to show their butts in like every other scene. I have not noticed that, but I will
really?
I will watch.
I might need to watch the show now.
No, they're not Latinas.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think they're Latinas, so it's not as noticeable, I guess. Forever Runner 199 says, this is a supervillain, Trish. You don't want to get to know him.
Oh, wow.
He is he is fairly evil.
He's got a little bit of this going on.
Dis slander in the chat, my God.
Oh, because you haven't been around Dis in a while, Nolan. We've gotten some Dis backstory the last couple weeks, and it has left us all being like, who are you? Like it's seriously like looking back at just like the worst person you've ever met in your life.
Oh my God.
Like he talked about how like Hulk Hogan threw his shirt at the end of a match one time, and I guess somebody was like cutting it up and giving it out to kids in the crowd, and so he got one, and the little girl in front of him got one too, and then like she dropped hers on the floor, and he saw it, and she was like, "Oh my God, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" And so he bent down to pick it up and was like, "All right, cool, now I have two."
What?
Yeah.
How old was he? He was a kid?
He was a kid, but then like when he's like older,
was in him as a kid,
like teenage years, he called out of work. He called out of work by saying it was Mother's Day weekend, and he got called out of work saying his grandmother died, which she didn't, and his work sent flowers, and so he took the flowers and then gave them to his mother as a Mother's Day gift.
Well, that's just thrifty.
One of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life. Mr. Jamie Jam for $1.99 says, "No More Tears" by Ozzy Osbourne is my karaoke jam. That's a good one. And Travis Heckle, our friend from the Jim Cornette Experience, checking in saying, "I just jumped in since I heard the name Yakko. Can we please bring back up Hello Nurse and Hail to Scratch and Sniff? Hail to Paul Bearer." That brings us up to $152, by the way.
I still quote Hello Nurse like mad. I love that line.
Regina Sharp says heel dis is the best dis. I agree. Well, there is only one version. It is heel dis.
It's him all along, the heel all along.
It's always heel dis. And then Ronnie says dis is a future episode of Crime and Punishment.
I took a drink right when I read that.
Trish gonna be like, and then he took the Hulk Hogan piece. I'm like, Trish, I know this story already.
Like, listen.
Best super chat of the night.
Yes, it is. All right, guys, we're at 159 right now, 300 to get the Yakko Warner song. Let's talk a bit about Sonic the Hedgehog. Before we get to Nolan's story, I have another Raven story to Blue Streak speeds by Sonic the Hedgehog. I love the Sat AM.
Sonic the Hedgehog, he can catch what he can see. Sonic the Hedgehog, he can set Bobby is free.
Well, see, that's the more fun one, obviously. But so before we get to the Sonic 4 news, Jim Carrey, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 gets great news as Jim Carrey is open to returning as Eggman despite 2022 retirement.
Retirement with an asterisk, except for Sonic.
So speculation swirled through his announcement, but despite supposedly calling it a career, Jim Carrey returned to the screen for Sonic 3. Which has a 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I actually just watched it last night because it's out on digital now. But in a recent interview, Carrey said he's open to reprising his role as Eggman. He jokingly noted that instead of retiring, he plans to power rest.
I've just decided, instead of retiring, I've decided to power rest.
John Wick being such an incredible...
Did you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, but I really want to know if Jim Carrey's going to be in John Wick. What's this about?
I'm guessing he cut it off at T2, which
A series of films, and of course there are obvious corollaries between John Wick and Shadow.
Oh, okay. We're talking about John Wick and John Wick and Shadow. Okay,
they cut it off.
Yeah,
horrible.
So Jim Carrey said, "I'm definitely open. I'm open to the idea, and generally they come to me with the next idea. And if I go, that sounds fun, then I'll do it. I don't feel locked into anything in life unless it's something that interests me. I certainly love this crew. I love this gang that makes these movies, and I love the fans. God, isn't that nice to hear someone say that they love the fans? There's a lot of
like him and Cavill, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of really great energy around it, great responses, and the fans jump in and say, "How about if you do this?" They've all been super helpful. I think we're making this movie together. And then, of course, we talk a bit about the Sonic's box office versus Disney. But you guys, we will be seeing more of Sonic the Hedgehog because Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is happening, and it has a release date, according to Nolan Thunder of that place.
Nolan.
So Sonic the Hedgehog 4 release date revealed by Paramount Film sets early 2027 release date and promises bold new characters. So Nolan says Sonic the Hedgehog fans have been living in paradise as January 21st, 2025 marked the digital release of the theatrical hit Sonic the Hedgehog 3. However, much bigger news has surfaced as March 19th, 2027 release date has been announced for Sonic the Hedgehog 4. This will be the fourth entry into the beloved film series based on the video games, which debuted on the Sega Genesis back in 1991. Article from here. I put a spoiler alert in here, Nolan, because you just start going full spoilers.
Yeah, I didn't know if we could do that or not. So I was like, no one shut up about it.
No, you can. So, but I just wanted to put a spoiler warning in there for you. But yeah, this is the logo that came out with it. You see, you got the pink number 4 for Amy. And of course, Nolan gives the history of Amy, the history of Metal Sonic. We say Jim Carrey's coming back, possibly, but the March 19, 2027 release date for Sonic 4 provides a far easier road toward box office success, as it will not be competing with the Walt Disney Company. Disney's Lion King prequel Mufasa released at the same time as Sonic 3 in the US and only days apart internationally. Due to Disney's lean on the film industry, Sonic 3 missed out on IMAX screens across the country. Despite the fierce competition, Sonic 3 is still looking to win the overall domestic battle at the box office. If Sonic can keep his momentum going into early 2027, Paramount should have a surefire hit. Yeah, I mean, guys, Sonic 3 was fantastic. I mean,
it's one of the few studios out there who sorta in a way kind of work with the fans. I mean, if Paramount years and years ago had never made the call to redesign Sonic when that horrible abomination creature that they came up with in the concept design for the first movie was greenlit, we never would have had a franchise. But it's the fact that they listen to the fans basically telling them, change the movie, put the budget in, and change it. Now we have a franchise. They're tying in aspects of the game's plots into the movie to kind of streamline them. It's refreshing, and the movies are just dumb fun. And I think it says a lot for the people behind it that they clearly like the source material, as opposed to let's do everything in the book possible to make the fans hate us. It's not rocket science, and I appreciate them for that. I look forward to a new movie every few years.
It's very obvious though in a lot of these scenes how they're just letting Jim Carrey do whatever the heck Jim Carrey wants to do. Like the scene where the two Robotniks dance into the lasers. Like,
I was thinking the same scene.
I was like, okay, Jim Carrey wanted to dance today, so this got written into the script. Yeah, it was. It's certainly something. But yeah, I watched it last night, and I very much enjoy that film. All right, a couple more super chats here. We got one more super chat. Ryan Damon for $5 says, remember in Star Trek Deep Space Nine where Kira returned a dress Gul Dukat gave her. Dukat turned right around and gave it to his daughter Xiao. Dis learned from the best.
I do remember that
names
episode.
correctly?
Yeah. Gul Dukat, the greatest Star Trek villain ever. Sorry, Khan. But one of my favorite things about Gul Dukat, other than being the best villain of all time, is in 2016, someone made a Gul Dukat for president account, and all he did was just quote Trump, but change it to DS9 references. So he's like, I will build the wall around Bajor, and the Bajorans will pay for it. It was fantastic. It's my favorite thing ever. And then someone
hold on, Cisco actually did build that minefield in front of the in front of the wormhole. So isn't that more of a Cisco move than a Dukat move?
And
So
then
I say it.
I follow
the Twitter account was Hillary Clinton as Kai Wynn.
So I follow a comedy like Sopranos account, and the other day I found one, and it was Trump on the stage at the rally, and he's talking to the biker guy from the Village People, and it just says, "Vito, the F you doing?" I like fell out of my chair. I was laughing so hard because it really looks like it. Don't say nothing, Donnie. It's a joke. Just goofing around. What? I was here. It's a joke.
Did you see one of the Soprano comedy accounts that had Trump hold up an executive order where he changed satin dolls to bada bing officially?
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. All right. So, and then for $5, John Williams says, here's hoping Sega will allow the Freedom Fighters to return. I don't think that's Sega's choice, guys.
And Penders, everybody.
Yeah. Nolan, what's the story with that?
We said his name once.
So yeah, if he wants to come on the panel, I'll gladly talk to him. But no, so Ken Penders,
Beau DeMayo.
Oh God, he said it twice.
No, Beau DeMayo is my Beau DeMayo. Don't ever let that slip your mind. But no, to give a quick summary, because I'm not going to give you a 10-minute editorial here. Basically, for those who don't know, Ken Penders was a writer for the Sonic the Hedgehog comics in the 90s. He wrote a bunch of stuff, had a lot of very interesting takes on the character. We'll just leave it at that. And he got mad, or he got upset a few years after the fact because characters of which he did not create, or no, his characters were alluded to in one of the Sonic the Hedgehog games that came out in like 2005. And he got mad about that, and he basically tried to like sue Sega or something along the lines. And it basically resulted in characters who originated from the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons that were being written in the comics basically got blacklisted from any other future Sonic stuff. And now, due to some extreme scenarios he put the characters in, now some of the Sonic Hedgehog characters aren't allowed to follow certain... They have to follow certain rules of what is allowed and what's not allowed. And it's impacted the series in some ways for better, but a lot of ways for worse. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, man, the Mobius stuff is definitely like really, really dark stuff. All right, moving along. By the way, guys, there's a story I'm working on for tomorrow. Actually, there is a rumor via My Time to Shine Hello who said Ao Edebiri is reportedly considered for Storm in the X-Men reboot. Now I don't know much about her. I've been told she's the replacement voice for the one girl in Big Mouth. She's also she's in the FX show The Bear, I guess. Boston native and star of FX is The Bear. She's fantastic. All I said was I don't know who she is, but she's not Cynthia Erivo, so I'm happy.
Once a man.
Once a man. Cobra La.
Man.
Cobra La. Okay, you guys ready to talk about the Schloskers? Like Tiny Toon Adventures. All right. Guys, look, there's nothing I care about less in this world than the Oscars.
I think
Game
most
Awards
people feel that way.
Yeah. No, I care about the Game Award. I care about the Game Awards more than the Oscars.
Oh,
because at least the Oscars are like upfront about the fact that like, look, this is up its own butt. Industry people patting each other on the back. It's not the Game Awards where they're like, this is your choice, and it's really not.
Golden Globes have to be worse than the Oscars, right?
Oh God, maybe because that's the Hollywood Foreign Press, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Best Picture. Now I'm going to go through these. If you have, I will pause after each one. If you have seen it, if you have seen it, say seen it. If you have heard of it, say heard of it.
Okay. Seen it's not coming out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got one. I got one.
Okay, well, let me go through them.
Give him a
Honora.
chance.
Nobody? The Brutalist.
What?
No, don't what it. A Complete Unknown.
Heard of it. I actually want to see that one.
Okay.
What's it about?
What's it about?
It's about Bob Dylan.
Oh, that's the Bob Dylan movie. Okay, yeah, I have
it's
actually
the one
heard
that
of this
stars
one.
Timothy.
Timothy, as he
Timothy.
once clarified, Timothy. He
Timothy.
just deals with
Really?
people. Yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
like-
he was. I don't think he was like jerky about it. I mean, I'm kind
Okay.
of making it more snooty, but I think he was like, technically it's this, but everyone just says Timothy, so I just roll with it.
Just say it like Nell. Timothy Chalamet, the tail in the wind.
Conclave. I have seen it.
Heard of it.
Never heard of it.
I'm sure you're not a fan, Martin.
No.
So
Well, I'm a
here's the thing.
Protestant for one, so.
Well, I know, but still, it was made to piss off Christians. Conclave is so my dad told me to watch it. He's like, "Oh, it's really good. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it." So I sat down and watched it, and for 99% of this film, I was like, "Hey, this is a really good movie. I'm really enjoying this." It was a cool look at like how they choose a pope. And I thought at first I was like, oh, is this going to be like a Vatican murder mystery? Because they kind of made it seem like the Pope was killed. And I was like, this would be really cool. Like, because the cardinals are all in the conclave. And then at the end, it takes such a hard left turn. And there is a hacky, stupid, horrible twist that is made just to piss off Christians or it's Catholics in particular. And that was when I was like, I'm not offended by it, but I think it was hack. I think it was just hack. I think they did not know how to end this movie, and so they made a hard left turn. Dune Part 2.
Saw it.
I've heard of it.
What? Timothée Chalamet.
Emilia Perez.
Heard of it.
I'm Still Here.
Nope.
Nickel Boys.
No.
Is that like the prequel to Nickelback?
Someday there'll be Nickel Men.
The Substance.
Heard of it, and I kind of want to see it, but body horror is not really my jam. So I'm like, I like the premise, but I'm like body horror.
When I was on Mr. H today, we were talking about this, and he said he saw that movie and it's fantastic. So
Hear such great
he loves horror. That's his
he
jam.
does love horror. He does.
I caught a piece of that when you guys were talking about it. He also said it's something else as well, and not just horror.
Yeah. Yes, he said it was a soft core, you know what.
Oh,
essentially.
okay. First time I've heard
Trisha's-
that.
Trisha's
No,
like,
I'm just
fire it up.
surprised. I'm just surprised. I never heard that. Okay.
So yeah, the Substance, and then Wicked, which I'm like, why is that here?
I like the
Look, it was
dolls.
good. It was good. But I'm like, did they have to put like one movie that people actually saw in there? I mean, I guess two because Dune. But
I will say this: I don't really give two craps about the Oscars, and I'm sure it won't win. But I kind of like that The Substance, and then in some other categories, Nosferatu is in there because even though it's their type of horror, it's still horror, which they generally just shun. They think they're too good for. So I appreciate that
been
about
what?
it.
Since Silence of the Lambs, since horror really got
yeah,
recognized.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Directing. Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, Coralie Fajot for The Substance, and James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. I don't care who wins this one as long as it's not James Mangold.
Who put James Mangold in the best of anything category?
F that guy.
I don't know who he is.
He directed the last Indiana Jones. He's directing a Star Wars movie. He's a fan. He's a fan blamer and just a real piece of something.
He's also the guy who basically alluded to John Williams being like senile old man because he gave away a spoiler that he wasn't supposed to reveal.
Mm-hmm. Because he gave away the fact that they did reshoots, and James Mangold was trying to say they didn't do reshoots.
Yeah.
Actor in a leading role: Adrian Brody in The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes in Conclave, and Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. Now, Trish, do you want Sebastian Stan to win, even though he's in a ridiculous political film?
Yes, because I mean,
Now I know and
that
I know
aspect of it with Hollywood is like whatever to me.
I know I just said that I didn't like the movie, but Ray Fiennes was really good in that movie.
Oh, I'm basing this solely on the fact that I just like Sebastian Stan, and I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, I don't know who Coleman Domingo is, but out of all those names, I feel like he's kind of like, oh, good for him. So, it's like underdoggy to me.
By the end, I was pissing off my wife so bad during that, but by the end of it, she was doing it too. Like every line that Ray Fiennes said, he'd be like, "We have to choose a new pope," and then I would say, "And kill Harry Potter." Everything he said, I turned it into, "And we have to kill Harry Potter."
I love it.
Actress in a leading role, and this is where the Oscars loses me forever. Cynthia Erivo in Wicked.
She's already been nominated for an Oscar in that category.
She did not deserve it for this.
I'm just saying.
Anyone who played Harriet Tubman would have gotten nominated for it.
Well, Wicked
she was Harriet Tubman in that awful action movie.
Yeah.
She was Harriet Tubman. Here's something to remember, guys, because when people try to say, "Oh, DEI," this is the first year that the Oscars actually is working with the DEI qualifications. So these nominees are not nominated based on merit at all.
Stupid.
And they're full on admitting that they're not nominated based on merit.
Did you know that Bad Boys didn't make the qualification list?
No.
2 black men, a not white director, and they're like, "Nah, you don't make the cut."
So Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez,
Cool.
Mikey Madison in Honora, Demi Moore in The Substance, and Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here. Actor in a supporting role.
Oh, were we supposed to be saying if we've heard of the actor or actress, by the way?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, because I was gonna. Well, honestly, that's a 50-50, probably even more of a lopsided ratio shot for me because it's like I either totally know who they are, or I'm like, who the hell is that? So,
actor in a supporting role: Yura Borisov in Honora, Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain, Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce in The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice. Now I'm pulling for Kieran Culkin because
because
I'm
you can't
pulling
drink Pepsi before bed, or else he'll pee.
Yes, I am pulling for Kieran Culkin because I want Cousin Fuller to win an Oscar. He was at he was at Raw on Netflix, and there was a thing where him and CM Punk like met up on the and Pug said something about like, yeah, we both have a history with Pepsi. And I was like, good for you, Pug. That's a smart joke. Actress in a supporting role: Monica Barbaro in A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande in Wicked. Now, I'm not saying she didn't deserve to be nominated. I'm saying, why is she actress in a supporting role?
Because it's a better shot for them to each win if one of them is in one and one of them is in the other. It's like strategy.
Let them fight.
No, essentially what they will do is cancel each other out. So this is so they don't do that.
Here's the thing. All right, because Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, grope each other during every interview. But they're in nonstop competition with each other. They've got to be frenemies. Like they're currently in a who can get the closest to becoming a skeleton without actually dying competition.
I worry about Ariana Grande with that. I'm not gonna lie.
Same.
I don't like to judge, but
I don't worry about Cynthia Erivo because I don't care if Karen Carpenter's herself.
She'll just shed her skin and start all over again.
What's a man? Cobra La. Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini in Conclave, and Zoe Saldana and Emilia Perez. Isabella Rossellini in Conclave, she barely does anything in that movie.
But she doesn't do it so well.
Yeah. I think she's the Mother Superior of the nuns, and she's got like one speech in the whole movie. Writing, adapted screenplay. We've got A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, and that's it. Writing for an original screenplay for Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, The Substance. Animated feature film, Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Now, I've heard The Wild Robot. I've heard The Wild Robot is very, very good.
My kids love it. They want to watch it all the time. Now, is Flo the animated adventures of the lady from the insurance commercials?
I hope so. if so, I'm in.
I was gonna make a Kiss My Grits joke.
Yes.
Animated short film, Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck, also known as Wicked.
Yuck.
Cinematography, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu.
Maria.
I saw Nosferatu.
How was it?
I was disappointed. Okay, it's shot really well, and it deserves a cinematography nomination. But it just wasn't for me. Kind of a little bit necrophilic, if I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I've heard very good things about.
I gotta be honest. The last 10 minutes, it's a little softcore. It's a little necrophilia. It's like, all right. These are not.
Yeah, this year's Oscars is interesting.
Yeah.
Was that better or worse than the one that was supposed to be Creature from the Black Lagoon, but instead became a love story? Yes.
I won't say what I call that. I'm not allowed to say what I call that in private company. Kevin's heard me call that.
Please do.
All right. Costume design. A Complete Unknown, Conclave. The costumes in Conclave, it was just like priest robes. Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. The costumes in Nosferatu were beautiful.
Hey, Marv, we got a 50.
What? Oh. Regina Sharp says, Kevin, Mel's Diner in this economy? I don't get what's that reference.
That's Flo from Alice. They worked in Mel's Diner. Did you know that Flo was, I think, 39 in that
really?
show? I saw it the other day and I was like, all right.
Wow. And of course, for $50, he gets
Glom Gold, Glom Gold, Glom Gold, Glom Gold.
Oh, Regina Sharp, thank you so much. This is fantastic. That brings our total for tonight up to 80, 90, I believe $219. Which, wow, we're closing in. I feel like I got to play another clip just because that was such a generous super chat.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind. Everybody hands go up, and they stay there.
Ah, fantastic.
Shields up.
I do love that. I just love how nonchalant he is about it.
Thank
you. Thank you very, very much, Regina Sharp. That was very generous.
Apoplectic Picard is my favorite Picard.
You and Kimi is asking, does breaking for 50 or more include gifted memberships? Yes. If you gift 10 memberships or more, then yes, we do break for you. Because that's what I believe. It's $5 membership. So yeah, be 10 memberships for a 50.
We'll break right into Electric Boogaloo.
Damn right. I will.
Tooney Town karaoke night.
Film editing: Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked. Makeup and hairstyling: A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, Wicked. Wicked is nominated for like everything. Live
I'm
action
telling
short
you, it's
film.
like a lot. It's a lot.
Aline, Anuja, I Am Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent.
What's with all the robots? I Am Not a Robot, The Wild Robot. So many robot movies.
It was the year of the robot, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, the Nolan Thunder biopic.
She's just catching strays, man. Like, why?
I'm kidding, Nolan. I'm kidding.
I'm starting to think I'm his political opponent in the next race or something. Dang.
I want to know if they've got the DEI standard starting this year.
Mhm.
How is the Bob Dylan biopic about like the New York folk music scene getting in here? Because I got to say, there's Lily
Bob
White.
Dylan. It's Bob Dylan. It probably, you know what I mean, in the hierarchy of it. It's like, well, it's Bob Dylan, so you know.
A lot of it also though is like the crew. Like the crew has to be a certain percentage, you know, POC or gay or whatever.
Oh, is that what you meant by Bad Boys wasn't meeting the requirements? When you said that before, it was Bad Boys.
That's
you
what
guys said, right?
Yeah,
It's because it's shot in black and white.
Okay, so here's the one that I take some issue with. Music, original score: The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Wicked was not an original score written for a movie. It is a score of a Broadway show that was released 25 years ago.
I'm guessing they're taking it as original score of the property.
Well, maybe
it's probably how they say that, you know.
The
background music, maybe.
The one of the most famous movie songs of all time, As Time Goes By, was not eligible for original song because it had appeared in a play already.
Oh, that's interesting. So maybe it is the instrumental scores and things like that is what they're going with.
Oh my goodness. That's what you call the movie? Oh my goodness, Trish.
What?
I just looked at the private chat to see what you actually call.
That is legitimately what I call it. And everyone knows what I mean, by the way.
Original song, El Mal from Amelia Perez. The Journey from the 688. Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Mi Camino from Amelia Perez. And Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late.
Where did the Elton John movie? I didn't even know what happened. I knew about Rocket Man. There's another Elton John movie floating around out there. I had no idea.
Yeah, guys, does anyone care about the rest of these?
Absolutely not. No one cares.
Wait, bring up
No
visual
one cares.
effects real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, because that's the one that usually has the things that people know of. Visual effects: Alien Romulus, Better Man.
Better Man. Oh my god, the monkey biopic for Robbie Williams.
Oh my god.
It's officially Oscar nominated. I love this. I love this for him.
Oscar nominated and not box office nominated. Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked.
You do realize they can put on things for Better Man now, Oscar nominated.
Okay, but here's the thing for Better Man. How could Better Man, if Better Man cannot win this? Because Better Man would win
Planet
this.
of the Apes is there.
Exactly, because it would win for one ape, while Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has a whole cast worth of apes.
But wouldn't that
darn good.
They're not singing.
But wouldn't that be the best afterwards press conference? Like the visual effects crew from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, like, we've got like 50,000 apes, and you only had one.
Well, we had one really
that
good
one
one.
ape, that one monkey was Robbie Williams, so that's worth at least what 30 apes in that movie.
Robbie Williams also beat out King Kong because at one point Godzilla X Kong was in the running for that too, which is stupid.
There's a primate quota. You can only put so many.
They start becoming the majority. It doesn't have our diversity quotas.
All right, guys. Do we want to move on to Captain America stuff, or do we want to move on to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively?
Neither.
Oh.
I'm probably the only one that cares about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, so it's fine.
I was trying to see if they wanted to.
I've grown rather fond of that topic.
What the Lively one?
The Blake Lively one.
It's never ending.
It has become
very.
My X feed thinks I'm very interested in it.
Because you're friends with Trish. It's like, oh, this guy follows Trish.
He must be so into it as well.
All right, so let's talk. We've got a couple stories to go through here, and this was if you guys watch the Tooney Town TV video today, I go through all of these stories in that one. So you're gonna get more of the panel's opinions here. I'm just gonna kind of be the narrator. So Captain America: Brave New World's runtime shows that it is the shortest yet most expensive Captain America movie to date. The tripled film cost nearly $3 million per minute. Now, today, The Hollywood Reporter tried to come out and say that the budget for Captain America: Brave New World is $180 million. And what I have to say about that can be summed up rather easily.
I have never heard so many lies in my entire life other than when I was saying them.
Yeah, I think Wheezy Jefferson has something to say about that.
Yes. I wish we could play it. It is such an outright lie. Like, I wish I had the Umbridge clip like queued up to go, this is a lie. Because it is such a putrid lie. Everyone has known for months. And now, because the Hollywood Reporter said it, all the little Marvel sycophants are like, see, you are all wrong. Like, no. The entire industry is like, this movie costs $350 to $375 million. They are attempting to somehow use some technicality to spin this into a way where when they lose a gobbledy-jillion dollars on this movie, it's not going to but I point to them and
You're
I say,
a liar.
Thank you, Hot Rod. So let's have a look. Marvel Studios is gearing up for the release of Captain America: Brave New World. The runtime is just 118 minutes long. Now that includes credits here, guys. So the film will be the shortest Captain America movie to date, yet its budget has reportedly ballooned to a staggering $350 million on the low end, which means that it costs a jaw-dropping $2.9 million per minute of runtime. Now, that $350 is the low-end projection, with some outlets having the latest MCU project getting up to production costs of $375 million. This is because there were 4 expensive reshoots. That high-end figure would put the per-minute cost of the film up to $3.1 million per minute. Now, here's how that stacks up to the others. Captain America: The First Avenger, 2011. 124 minutes long, $140 million budget, $1.1 million per minute. Captain America: Winter Soldier, 2014. 136 minutes long, $170 million budget, $1.2 million a minute. Captain America: Civil War, 2016. 148 minutes long, a $250 million budget, and $1.6 million a minute.
You mean the Avengers movie?
It was literally
I love
Avengers
Civil
movie.
War. I love Civil
so
War,
good.
but it's
so
like
good.
it's very generous referring to it as a Captain America movie.
Yeah.
You know.
But this Captain America movie that has no big stars, because I'm sorry, Anthony Mackie is not a big star, has Harrison Ford in it. Yeah, has Harrison Ford in it as the one big star. And we're looking at a budget that's $100 million more than an Avengers movie. It's insane. Any comments on this?
If I may,
I'll smash, but I don't care.
Money aside, because I think all of it's insane, I kind of like that the movie is shorter because, I'm tired and movies are entirely too long. And I kind of feel like we need to start swinging the movie time pendulum back towards 90-minute movies. So all of the business aspects of it aside, I like that it's under 2 hours, especially when you remove the credits.
I got no problem with the length of this movie.
Yeah.
The problem I have is that it's $3 million a minute.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said the business part of it aside.
Yeah.
So,
have we gone over the here's
$3 million
something.
a minute. That's a Godzilla -1 every 5 minutes.
Yeah. By the way, we got to queue up Beau DeMayo here because we have got some racial injustice going on over there at Marvel yet again. They're at it. Disney has done it again. Disney has done it again. The Chinese poster for Captain America Brave New World partially obscures Anthony Mackie's face. Oh, goodness. So here is the Chinese. So it's a smaller version of it. But we see they've moved him into the background. They've encased most of his face in shadow. This is because China does not like those that are more melaninly inclined in their films. This is the other Chinese poster where they moved him off to the side and blocked off half his head. The poster is actually far larger than this. So the center of the poster is the fist hitting the shield. Obviously, they're trying to recreate that classic comic book cover. But that's Steve Rogers, and he's in much more turmoil under a green Hulk fist. That Anthony Mackie looks completely unbothered by the Hulk's fist slamming into his shield. Does anyone notice that?
Yeah.
And lest we forget, Disney has done this before. Take a look at Finn over here on the American poster for The Force Awakens, and here he is down here on the Chinese poster. And not to mention Black Panther, maybe the most egregious of them all, where we had this as the poster in America, and then in China, they put a helmet on his head.
It doesn't even have like the white eyes. It just looks like such bad Photoshop. It's awful.
It's a terrible Photoshop. So yeah, Disney will leave its morals at the door in order to placate to the almighty President Pooh Bear.
Yeah,
that's enough of that.
Was it Lightyear where there was gay elements in it and they called the fans homophobic, but they also absolutely cut it out for markets like China? Like it was like that blatant because they were calling all of, Americans or whatever, Westerners, shall I say, names.
Did it get like Skywalker? Did it get a Chinese release? Because I knew they cut out the gay kiss in Rise of Skywalker.
I don't know. They do it. Well, I wouldn't have paid attention to Star Wars news, so maybe they did that too. Like this is not the only time, but there's definitely a time. And they explicitly were like, well, it's because you all are homophobic, obviously. But then they turned around and, kowtowed to other things.
Anytime they go to China or the Middle East, it gets removed. We get the lecture, but it gets removed.
Yeah, they wag their fingers at us, but then they're just like, nope.
Did you ever see the YouTube video of the guy who removes those clips for other countries, but then incorporates those clips into the inclusion montage for here in the United States?
Of course he does. All right, so pre-sales for this movie are showing that it could be a flop on the level of the Eternals or even the Marvels, but it's quote our good friend LW Ghost, it gets worse. So right now it is the Eternals. It is performing similarly to it's 1.4 times better pre-sales than the Marvels and on par with the Eternals. Now, here's the thing about the Eternals. It's Marvel's first major bomb, which grossed 164.9 million domestically and 237.2 million internationally, for a worldwide total of 402 million on a production budget of 236.2. Brave New World, if it does the same numbers as the Eternals, is a bigger bomb because of the $350 to $375 million price tag. So, It's also possible that this could be a bomb on the level of the Marvels, which, you know, was also, I think, like, because of the reshoots, $375 million, $376 million, and just completely bombs away, right?
Maybe it's because I'm not a cinephile, but something like Endgame, I even pre-order tickets. But, like, why does one need to pre-order a ticket to a Captain America?
You used to have to. You used to have to.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, why is that engaged for them anymore?
Now it's just getting the seat that you want in the theater. It's not even about being excited.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's fair.
And then finally, the biggie. This is the one where when I saw it, I was like, no. Because if this is true, this is really messed up. All right, so rumor. The Red Hulk is featured for less than 5 minutes of Captain America: Brave New World. I believe it too.
I believe it.
Yep.
Hulk smash or whatever. I don't care.
Watch them try to add another minute somewhere, so they're like, it was a little more than 5 minutes. You were wrong.
I'll wear this guy. The scenes that we're seeing of him like in the fire and the flames, I don't even know if that one's real. I could see them just putting that in the trailer, like adding extra Red Hulk into the trailer. Because all we've seen is this scene of him fighting Sam Wilson in the middle of the cherry blossoms in DC. So now I have a source that I am kind of testing out that I haven't fully verified yet. So I'm not really using him as a source in videos yet, but told me that they've seen a cut of this film.
And you've got to use the classic. So take this with a grain of salt.
Yes. So take this with a grain of salt. I know exactly where you were going with that. So yes, unverified rumor, but he did say to me that this is 100% true. The Hulk is in it for less than 5 minutes. He does not turn into the Red Hulk until the very end of the movie. And basically also said that the leader does not look like the leader. He looks like the hills have eyes. Just a guy with a guy with a long head that looks like he might be jaundiced.
I'm sorry, wasn't expecting you to say that. Okay.
He said he's in no way green. He's maybe slightly yellowish. I know.
Is that also for the Chinese audience?
Yes. Oh.
5 minutes of screen time. That's the same amount we saw the Turbo Rangers in the Turbo movie. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Harrison Ford actually let them put the dots on his face to do the mocap stuff?
That's why there's only 5 minutes of him as Red Hulk. He's like, listen, you get one day.
Why are you putting bingo dots on me?
I'm not wearing 30 minutes of an emotional performance, and that's
I'm not wearing these golf balls for any longer than I have to. By the way, the fact that Sam Wilson can fight a Hulk by himself, like, and clearly he's gonna win. From what I've heard, he wins. He has no superpowers. I know he's got some vibranium suit that should not be able to stand up to a Hulk. So things I'm hearing about this movie. If you don't want to know anything, guys, tune out. Again, unverified rumor. You know what? I'm actually going to pull up the thing that my source told me. I'll read it to you guys directly. Because some of it I think is probably the case. I was told, here it is. Red Hulk only in 5 minutes, doesn't even get injected with the formula till the third act. Leader spills the beans at the end of the second act. Cap has to stop an assassination that leads to the Red Hulk transformation. Ross is almost assassinated by Isaiah Bradley, as well as other mind-controlled soldiers and security guards in the room. Leader triggers them via flashing lights on their phones. Ross suffers a heart attack and is given the formula that will turn him into the Red Hulk to save his life. Big international conflict between the U.S. and Japan over the adamantium, and the adamantium is being mined from the body of the Celestial that was erupting out of the Earth in the Eternals. Ross hulks out in front of the White House. It ends with Harrison Ford in jail, locked up.
Where's the part about the speech about how problematic Harrison Ford was as a white man?
I'm sure it's I'm sure he's going to stand outside the cell in the raft at the end and give him the whole rundown.
You do better, Red Hulk.
Yeah, the president of the United States is going to be locked up for reasons and get a lecture.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna get a lecture, and I guarantee you he's gonna be like, "You thought you were trying to make America great again, but all you did was make yourself worse." Or it's gonna be something like that. You got to do better, Mr. President. Serpent Society is only in the film for 7 minutes. No Seth Rollins. That's the movie.
Is it me, or does this movie sound like just them smashing a bunch of things that aren't working to try to make them work? Like the Eternals, no one cares.
Well, at least they're gonna do something with that giant Eternals skeleton that's been sticking out of the ocean since.
That was the first movie I did not see out of all
That was
those
the first
movies.
that was the first movie that a lot of people didn't.
I was like, this looks painfully boring, and I was told by everyone who did see it that I was accurate, that it was painfully boring. So
you did what you did well to avoid it.
Imagine telling a bunch of comic book guys, say 2002, that they'd all skip a movie with Selma Hayek in it.
Yeah,
I know. By the way, guys, like Harrison Ford, is he just like blowing all his money? Like, is that why he's doing these things? I don't understand it.
No, we talked about this. He is building a Defense Against Black Arts Academy in his mansion because he hates magic.
He should be new Snape. Defense Against the Dark Arts.
David playing a swine.
He's trying to destroy magic. He's like every villain from Once Upon a Time.
Ugh.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe
it doesn't belong in this world.
Maybe it's just like if they're backing it up to your house for very little time, do you turn it down? I mean, think about how much. I mean, I know he's gonna be doing more, but think about how much money they gave to Robert Downey Jr. It's just like
not for nothing though. Like, I really need there to be a moment where they're on some kind of plane and Harrison Ford is the president, where they're on Air Force One, and we get the "Get off my plane." By the way, I love that movie.
Maybe he tells Sam to get off his lawn. Get off my lawn.
He's so grouchy.
I could see him reading that line in a script and being like, ugh. You're gonna make me make this reference. Ugh.
Oh man. All right.
So you mentioned them mining adamantium. Is this
Yes.
the first time outside of Wolverine and Deadpool they're trying to hint at the X-Men going to be a bigger thing in the future?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so dumb. Do you realize how easy this could have been? You get to the bumper of Endgame. You're on a plane with Nick Fury, and he tells Hill to go to Westchester to talk to this weird geneticist because they need to figure out what has been happening over the last 5 years while they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And just let mutants start popping up while the world was blipped.
If they're just discovering if the adamantium comes from the celestial hand, then that means there's no Wolverine yet somewhere out there in the world. Like, there's no Weapon X.
Yeah, they made this more complicated than it needs to be.
They probably didn't even think of that.
It's just goofy. It makes zero sense.
Maybe a year ago, Lauren and I came up with this storyline for the MCU where like Professor Xavier is some obscure teacher in Westchester who's like super critical of the Avengers and everything they're doing, and that's how you end up introducing the X-Men into the MCU.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four, you could have just had them in space when Hulk used the gauntlet, when Thanos used the gauntlet the first time, because they made a giant point of saying it released a massive amount of cosmic radiation. So boom, they were in space for the cosmic storm. I don't understand the point of doing the 5-year time jump if you weren't going to use it to give you the ability to introduce a whole bunch of characters that you didn't tell the world about. When we get caught up
to expedite the process, essentially.
Or maybe some of the people that came back from the blip came back with mutant powers.
I don't know, but I mean, I would have. I feel like you need mutants to have existed in secret for a very long time,
Well,
especially if you keep wanting to go back to the Magneto in World War II situation. But then again, we're getting to the point where he'd be entirely, unless his powers somehow magnetism makes you age more slowly.
That is a thing. Actually, they do have answers for Xavier and Magneto being young, and Magneto. Yes, Magneto does age slower, the closer he is to the Earth. I forget what I was going to say. Shoot, but if you go back to what Samuel L. Jackson's original bumper was for the first Iron Man, he talks about every single Marvel superhero from Spider-Man to the X-Men. So, like, clearly someone thought of it at some point in time. Or they were hopeful that they were going to get the rights to everything.
Yeah.
So, like, why did you massage it back in?
You make a great point there, Kevin, and you have to think too. It's like, is anyone gonna buy this at this point? Not even just how convoluted it is, but part of what made X-Men so great was the fact that mutants are the society reject. The war between Charles and Magneto and all that. If you have it to where all of a sudden we are literally in a post like the Marvels and Eternals world where we have like all these different heroes. Are the mutants all that special anymore? It's like, why are these the guys the one they're getting discriminated against? It
that's
doesn't
what I always
thought.
Yeah, sorry, Martin, go ahead.
I always thought that was ridiculous about Chris Claremont's X-Men stuff. The same world that celebrates the Fantastic Four is not going to reject the X-Men. That's ridiculous. But going with like this idea that during the blip, the X-Men are some of the people that came back, and there's this 5-year gap, and the initial cosmic radiation burst that goes out causes the Fantastic Four to be what they are. Then you could actually do that where these people who came back are now hated by the people who were there because of their mutations, and yet the Fantastic Four are celebrated because Reed Richards has been around doing stuff for 5 years to make people's lives better. You could have that tension now.
They alluded to mutants having been around because they talk about it in WandaVision. They refer to them as miracles. Strucker was digging up miracles because they were looking for people who could use the which one did he have? It wasn't the Tesseract.
He had the Mind Stone.
Yeah, the Mind Stone. So you already put it out there that there's this really small number of these gifted people floating around. So just to make this mess is just so stupid. Stupid baseball cap is just too tight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, it's not even that the baseball cap is too tight. It's that all of the talented people have left to do other things. Well, and so the point I made in the video was we just had Deadpool and Wolverine, and everybody got really excited again. Oh, is Marvel back? And then we saw the trailer for Daredevil, and everyone got really excited again. And this movie is going to pull them right back down because it's going to be trash. And then the movie that comes right after it is also going to be trash because it's the Thunderbolts.
So do you think all this is going to do to Daredevil what, bad Star Wars did to Solo?
It's possible.
Because I'm convinced that Solo tanked because the main trilogy was so bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Solo tanked because The Last Jedi sucked.
Yeah. If Solo came up before The Last Jedi, Solo would have made more money. Last Jedi was the tipping point where people were like, we're not doing this anymore. I think Daredevil will be different because people are going to remember the Netflix show more. Whereas if Daredevil stunk, Daredevil is the nail in the coffin. Everybody goes, we're not giving you guys money anymore, which is why I think they panicked and redid it because they understood what was what the implications were going to be.
And what does that do for the modern MCU? When you look at the hits, like Deadpool and Wolverine leans back to the Fox movies. No Way Home was the Sony Spider-Man movies. And we keep going back into the old well here with these franchises. Whereas if they pulled, I know people casually throw around doing the David Zaslav, canceling movies for tax write-offs and stuff. And I think people tend to to do that with certain films. But I think honestly, releasing these next two movies could literally doom the MCU and literally cost them probably billions, because they were on the cusp of a rebound. But now, like I said, Spider-Man, Sony, Daredevil's the Netflix show. I think they're just going to be in the old well, and they're just going to dig their own grave.
I think the other part too is, we know that we're coming out of whatever the Secret Wars movie is going to be, with some kind of weird reboot, and I think people are not going to be into it. I don't think people don't want reboots anymore. We've been screaming about superhero fatigue, and it is a thing, right? It just is a thing. I think people want more variety in their movies again. I should say, I think people want movies in general. They're tired of only getting superhero movies and reboots. But before we got superhero fatigue, we were already well into we don't want remakes and we don't want reboots. People were already tired of it, so they got ignored. And now you've got the MCU about to start over again, and people aren't really going to understand why. I think they've got a great big old mess on their hands that they just didn't need to have. So Xavier is young, because the original Charles Xavier was killed by the Brood when he got turned into an aliens monster, and the Xavier that we see today is a younger clone. Magneto gets turned into a baby, like an actual infant, in hopes of because everybody forgets Magneto was just a hyper violent supremacist. So he comes across another mutant who punishes him in hopes that he'll have a better chance at having a better life, because they essentially just reboot him, turn him into a baby. And he stayed that way for a couple of years, and then when he gets rejuvenated, he's younger. And then they explained also too that the closer he is to the Earth, his powers kind of evolve to the point that the magnetic poles keep him young and can keep him functioning even if he sustains a grievous injury.
Oh, there we go. All right. Let's get some super chats, then we'll get into one of our last stories of the night. Regina Sharp for $10 says, the only Oscar I ever cared about was the one where Suicide Squad beat Girl Boss Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And then Regina Sharp for $5 also says, damn it, Marvin, the Careless Whisper is making me fall in love with Smexy Cyclops Beau. Stupid Smexy Cyclops.
Smexy.
Well, that can only mean I have to. I just love Careless Whisper.
I saw you grooving a little bit, Nolan. You're like,
Regina Sharp also says for $5, it's Rulk. Harrison Ford, probably. It's pronounced Rulk. And John Williams for $5. In the comics, mutants always existed, but 9 out of 10 of them didn't activate their powers. Only modern day there was a massive spike when the X gene activated. That is true. I do remember something like that. So that brings us to $244. We are about $56 away from our goal of 300 to do to close out with the Animaniacs song. So keep those super chats coming. We are very, very
we're going to
close.
close out just shy of it, about Tree Fitty.
Read about Tree Fitty. It was about that time that I realized that it's one of the great. Who thought of that? I always think of it whenever the 350, the Tree Fitty Loch Ness Monster thing comes up. I always think about that. Like, who thought of this? That the Loch Ness Monster is stalking these two old black people, asking them for $3.50. Whoa!
Marvin.
Regina Sharp with $56.
Woo! Well,
wow, Regina Sharp. Okay, you've earned it. You have earned it, Regina Sharp. Thank you very, very much. That is incredibly generous. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna find something to play.
That I really like this boy, but his dad.
Whoop! Look out! Sorry there. Didn't realize how long it had been since old Dumper did his business. He'll be done soon enough. Oh, maybe not.
I just love that clip so much. Yep. All right. So I guess I'm going to be doing it. We'll close out the show with it. We'll do one more story, Regina Sharp, and then we will do The Nations of the World, as sung by Yakko Warner, as performed by Marvin the Movie Monster. All right, final story of the night. It's Trisha's time to shine because Justin Baldoni has unleashed behind the scenes counter Blake Lively's explosive allegations. The fiery legal feud between It Ends With Us co-stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has taken another dramatic twist thanks to newly released behind-the-scenes footage from the production. Baldoni claims that it debunks Lively's accusations of sexual harassment on set. So let's take a look at the video. So they're just talking while they're filming, because I guess this is behind music. I know you and Ryan talk all the time, and Emily and I have we have these moments where... Okay. This does not seem like two people that hate each other. Uh-huh. Okay.
I think we need the Careless Whisper music now.
Yeah. She's talking about his big nose. Telling him to get a nose job.
This is someone she's claiming sexually harassed her.
Yes.
I'd just like to point out.
And there he goes in.
Oh, there it is right there. He's doing it, that predator.
In this movie where they're supposed to be playing. Okay, so there's the "It Smells Good." And one of the things she said was he was commenting on my fragrance. She said, "I'm getting spray tan on you." And he said, "That's all right. It smells good."
I mean, none of this is reflecting well upon Blake Lively, and she should really just stop while she's already not ahead. But
yeah, but you know what? He's not going to stop. He filed a $400 million lawsuit against them, and he ain't stopping. I'll guarantee you that.
And you know what? Good for him, because this stuff happens all the time.
Yep.
And, it's unfortunate, but a lot of companies. So when this stuff happens, the average company has insurance and they don't want to fight the claim. They just figure we're going to use the payout to make them go away, because you never know what's going to happen in court. And the person who is accused, who they may be absolutely innocent, they never get their due. But they have this specter hanging over them for the rest of their lives. And it's horrible that this is something that happens. It's horrible that people get away with this crap. I'll give Canada this. They actually took this into consideration, and when someone files a false complaint, they are forced to pay the person's legal bills. So so it's it's something we need to get on top of here. But I hope he fights this, because they just destroyed this poor guy's career. Obviously he's blackballed. They're entirely too powerful. They're entirely too powerful a couple, so there's going to be consequences. He knows he's going to have a hard time getting work, and you can't disprove the negative. Anybody can. You can only prove the truth. So they can. There's always going to be the specter that, well, did he do this? Maybe he didn't. I don't know. There's blah, 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 blah. What she did is going to haunt this guy. So screw it. Go get paid. Go get paid and give her some of her mean girl comeuppance, because she's gotten away with a lot for a very long time.
Yes.
He got dropped by his agency immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those deals, she said it and put it out there, and they were like, boom. And I mean, who knows what's going on behind the scenes, because it could have been even the powerfulness of her and Ryan Reynolds influencing something too with regards to that. But still, I mean, the end result is got dropped immediately.
That is important to say. She's married to a shady foreign billionaire.
Mm-hmm. and he'll never have to work again if he wins, because he's filed a $400 million lawsuit against Blake and Ryan, and it filed an additional $250 against the New York Times.
I mean, I don't know if you're getting to it in the article, but the text messages where
I don't have the text messages.
Oh, where she calls herself Khaleesi and says that she has dragons, and she's talking about Ryan and Taylor Swift.
Oh gosh.
He released this because part of his thing was, I went to their house to speak with Blake about something, and it was like, no, but like Taylor Swift was there. And it was one of those, they didn't come right out and say something, but he very much so got the message about you have to kind of do what Blake wants kind of deal, you know, because
from
X, Y, and Z.
From
Taylor Swift
Was-
Swift is saying, no, I was just there friendly, but I mean, you know,
Was
I think
Taylor Swift gonna break his legs?
She's
Yeah,
really
like,
small.
was she the muscle?
I don't know, she's like so you know, she's claiming, no, I was just there in a, you know, friend capacity, and then he happened to come by and this, that, and the other thing, or some such, you know. I don't want to exactly quote her, but you know, she's claiming I didn't even know about any of this, which I don't believe. Allegedly, I don't believe it though. But yeah, you know, and I laughed so hard that she was just like, I think it was like one of those, if I remember correctly, like the dragons, if you're on my side, I've got these dragons and they're very like powerful. I'm like Khaleesi. And then like, but you know, the thing behind that is also, if you go against me,
I'll burn you.
I have Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift right here. So it's like,
I thought you were
what I mean?
insinuating that they were having some kind of like swinger party with Taylor Swift.
Good lord. Where did you
like what?
Did I say get down that road?
When you said that he got there and Taylor Swift was there, I thought that was the implication.
Listen, you keep your dirty minds out of this, all right? This is just in Baldoni's life we're talking about here.
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's gonna be one hell of a song when that eventually falls apart.
Well, you know, I don't know. It's just, I know we say both can be bad. It's Hollywood. You kind of assume everybody is, for the most part, kind of
debaucherous and terrible. Yeah.
But seeing as this has been this tennis match, he is currently looking like the one that is not wrong and not the bad guy. And that clip, both sides are claiming it proves their point. And I think
that proves her point.
You didn't have the audio on, but I think they're trying to.
No, you didn't.
Really, no, you didn't. At the very end, it was very, very low, but you didn't have the audio on. But because they're kind of acting it out, and it doesn't matter what they say because clearly it's not going to be used for dialogue, they still are in a little bit of character to some degree. And so there's a certain tone to how he says things, but it's like, this is where context is important, because it's like you showed everything before that and they're clearly acting. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
so right. I don't know. The tone of it, I think they're arguing could sound wrong. The whole like, oh, you smell good, but generally I don't think it looks as bad as she's trying to make it out to be. But I don't know. I feel bad for the guy because he isn't, you know, Ryan Reynolds. He's not even. God, this feels like such an insult. He's not even Blake Lively level. You know, I mean, I think this was really going to start getting him into some sort of mainstream, and I feel like, you know, they strong-armed him into a lot, because I don't know if we talked about this. I don't think we did. Because he's in the movie, but he also directed it and everything. Like this was his baby. I think he was the one who got the rights to the property to do this, and he had his cut of his movie, and then Blake Lively was like, I want to do my cut of the movie. I think that's where Taylor Swift might have been like intimidating him. Like, you gotta let her have her like controls over the movie. And they tested them both, and his did way better than Blake Lively's. But they released Blake Lively's.
She's not a creative genius. I'm shocked.
You know, this is what they're saying, that his did way better, but they still released Blake Lively's because who's behind him in comparison to who's behind her. Right. So, you know, I do feel kind of bad for him. Just what we know and how it's looking, I feel bad for him. And that she got, remember when I said it looked like, oh, he was being shunned, and so he looks like, what did he do? Well, that was the point. What did he do? Because, you know, they're all against him. Why would the rest of the cast be? You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. the way it's playing out so far, I feel bad for the guy. And I think most people do, though. This is why I said she should quit while she's not ahead, because the longer this has been going on, the more people have been kind of like, at the very least, he seems less wrong. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not a good idea.
Like he's the sane one who doesn't want a girls' night out for a movie about beating your wife.
Yeah, you know, grab your friends, wear your florals. The first time I saw that, I was like, this is a movie about TV. What? And again, she claims that was like a Sony mandated thing, and that could very well be true, but it doesn't even.
Well, why didn't she just get Taylor Swift to tell Sony not to make her do that?
Yeah, Taylor Swift should have been like, Blake's got to get her way.
And I just.
And then she'd be like, sorry, I have to go babysit Jeff Jarrett's kids.
Who thought this was a good idea?
Jeff Jarrett.
Regardless of if it was Blake Lively or not. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not Barbie. It's like they wanted it to be Barbie, but the movie isn't like Barbie.
Why would they even trust Jeff Jarrett with this movie? I mean, he never drew a dime. He broke 8,000 guitars.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I was making the Jeff Jarrett Taylor Swift connection. I'm sorry. I thought that was funny. But I agree with you, Trish. He is coming off. At first, I was like, oh, this is Freddy versus Jason. They're both terrible people. Who cares? I hope you eat each other.
And he might not be a nice guy for all I know. Like, I have no idea, but
I mean, so how great could he possibly be?
He's looking all right here so far. You know what I mean?
I kind of believe that Nice Pool was partially based on him.
That's one of the things. I think.
Did we not talk about that last week?
We did that on Pro. She wasn't here for it.
Oh yeah, he is claiming that Nice Pool in Deadpool is based on him, and that's part of like he's demanded Disney's internal communications about it. Well, I'm like, wait a minute, like at the end of the day, even if it is based on you, which I honestly think it might be, parody is not illegal. Otherwise, Donald Trump would be suing everybody.
I wonder if
it's
not so. Whenever it's not so much the parody itself as it is, it helps prove his point about
his
things.
His point that it's just like it is
and Ryan Reynolds was in on stuff, and
yeah, like they're trying specifically to like shame him and embarrass him
and ruin him, and
yada
yada.
I would say that if he could possibly have an argument if it becomes not parody by being specifically directed and part of an overall campaign to interfere with his ability to make a livelihood, then it's no longer parody.
Yeah, Trish, in her complaint, does she ever mention anything about him saying something about like her body post pregnancy?
It sounds vaguely familiar. I mean, much has happened in this that it's like I can't even totally keep track of everything.
I wondered with the Nice Pool stuff, because the one scene with Nice Pool is he's talking about Lady Deadpool, and he's like, she just had a baby, and you can't even tell. Everything just kind of like went right back in. And Deadpool goes, I don't think you're allowed to say that. And he goes, oh, it's okay. I'm a feminist. And I was I bet that was Justin Baldoni.
I'm not positive, but I think that is probably part of it, because it does sound like vaguely familiar to me as something that was in her complaint.
But don't they bring that joke back at the end, and Deadpool Prime says something like she really does look good or something like that?
I don't think they have that much of a back and forth. But I remember because then he uses Nice Pool as a human shield while all the Deadpool shoot, led by Blake Lively shooting the crap out of him until his head explodes.
And see, like, I get that that's parodying, that's not illegal, but if it supports things that he's saying, come on. You know, the more you keep saying about it, I'm like, well, if that is based off of him, that's getting more intense.
When I first wrote the article on it, I remember being like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. This is ridiculous. There's no way this is about him. And then I started like thinking about it more, and I started thinking about and I found like a compilation of all the Nice Pool scenes, and I was like, oh, this might be him. he might have a point here. This might be him.
And that's so I don't know. It's so petty to do something like that for those reasons. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Does he drive that minivan?
I don't know. The Nissan, or was it like a Honda or whatever it was?
This isn't reflecting well on Ryan Reynolds either.
No.
And he generally has a good reputation with people, and I feel like this is
always.
Listen, whether or not you think he's funny is one thing, but generally,
I do think he's funny. He's always.
I kind of think he's funny.
He's always just kind of struck me as like somebody who's probably kind of a sneak in real life.
I mean,
like, kind of
everybody, of course, nothing's universal, but generally speaking, when you hear people talk about Ryan Reynolds, they think he seems like a nice, fun guy. I don't know how much people. I don't know how much that's true anymore.
The guy who the guy, what was his name? I can't think of his name. The comedian. What is this? What the hell is his name? TJ something is the only person ever. Yeah, thank you. Was the only person I've ever heard say anything mean about Ryan Reynolds.
What do you say?
Wasn't he in the first Deadpool?
Yeah, he was
the first
two.
The
first two.
Oh yeah, he was. What did he say about
it?
I was like, Ryan would allegedly say, like, if he tried to ad lib, he'd be like, "Oh, so you think you're the star of the movie?" And then he would like rip him apart, but while still in character,
like being funny.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't understand what's happening here, but
I don't want to make any like accusations or anything, but we know people do buy into Ryan Reynolds' facade, at least in the past, because we know now with the marketing for Wolverine and Deadpool that whole thing about how he's like, "Oh, you need to do the movie with me, Hugh Jackman. We got to do this movie together." Apparently, he never even wanted Wolverine in it to begin with. He wanted to do like a normal Deadpool 3. So it shows how good of an actor he really is. Is he scummy behind the scenes? That I can't really say, but it is concerning the things that have been brought to light.
I mean, I had heard that he wanted.
Listen, I guess you got to say too, though, if you're successful,
you definitely were ruthless. Yeah, especially in that industry. So it's like, I kind of believe that. And not that this has anything to do with anything, but it speaks to someone's character, I suppose, is the scuttlebutt, and the timeline seems to support it. The general timeline is, he cheated on Scarlett Johansson with Blake Lively. And she cheated on Penn Badgley, apparently, with him at that time when they were on Green Lantern. And they're claiming, that they didn't get together for another year. I don't know how true that really is. But it's like, again, it speaks to character. I'm not saying that's like, throw them in the slammer. Because, since time immemorial, people have been doing that. But, when you start trying to get a clear image of people and a dynamic, you're like, all right. That's just kind of like another little thing that you kind of go...
Yep. All right. Moving on to some super chats before we end for tonight. John Williams had said this a while back, and I missed this one. I said, no freedom fighters aren't owned by lenders, but Sega of America. But Sega of Japan hates Sega of America. Freedom fighters originate from Satan.
I knew about the freedom fighters originating from that, but this whole Japan putting the kibosh on it, I thought it had a lot more to do with the Penders stuff. I'll research more into it.
And then Regina Sharp for $5 says, is Taylor Swift going to have to cut a bitch? All right. All right, guys. So time to do this this little karaoke ditty here. Let's hope I can do it, because this actually does take some like, it's not easy to do. Yes, it's just saying like, all right, first tell me you can hear this. Can you?
No.
It's kind of low, but I can hear it.
Hold on. You hear that?
Yeah.
Can you hear me over it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. And now the nations of the world, brought to you by
Now do the meme version where every other country is Guan.
No.
Honestly, the breathing seems like it's the hardest part of that.
It is. That is the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
So the reason I could do it is because I knew that I had this 90s karaoke party coming up, and I had the idea to do this, and I practiced it for like a week.
You're like, I'm gonna make this happen.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so you guys earned that one.
Definitely did.
Nick Beard says, now do wacko burping Strauss. No, I cannot do it. Ewan Kimmy is asking, will there be a live stream Saturday night for Tooney Town Wrestling for Saturday night's main event? I'm going to try. I got to see if I have anyone to do it with. So we'll see, because I know Dis isn't around. Awful's not around. Kev, I don't know if you're around. I can't hear you. You're muted.
I wanted to make sure the cat wasn't yelling during your epic battle.
Around Saturday?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Okay, cool. So we can definitely do it. For Saturday night's main event. Trish, you're welcome to. Anyone's welcome to watch it with. Watch it with us if they want over on Tooney Town Wrestling. All right. Well, that about does it for this week, guys. Martin Stone, where can folks find out more about you and everything you're up to?
I've been doing a little writing for That Park Place, the website, and I've been doing a little show for That Park Place, the YouTube channel, with Nolan Thunder, Hangry Table, and Trish. We're the Lost Guys, and we talk about all the things that interest us, and we hope interest you too.
Awesome.
That's a good tagline.
Thank you.
I like that. Nolan, where can folks find out more about you and everything that you are up to?
All right. Well, when I'm not on The Lost Guys with these awesome folks over here, you can find me on my YouTube channel at Nolan Thunder. I talk about media mysteries, from internet mysteries, video game mysteries, and all the cool urban legends of the world. It's a mix of documentary, B-movie horror, and comedy. And I guess Twilight's in them sometimes too. So yeah, if that interests you, check out my YouTube channel. They're fun to make, and hope you enjoy what you see.
Are 2 members of this cast right now being assaulted by cats?
Really?
Trish, tell the fine folks at home where they can find out more of what you are doing.
Here, Lost Guys with 2 pals, Nolan and Martin. Crime and Punishment with you, Marv, is a member exclusive. And then occasional pop in on the Tooney Town Wrestling. I want to try to make the Rumble 92 one happen, so.
That's going to be a Patreon
hopefully.
exclusive. So, yeah, let's make that happen.
Sign up, people.
Yeah. We also for the Rumble, we have got a pool. We've all got money on. We've got money on the pool on the Rumble. So the Rumble is going to be a pretty crazy fight.
Well,
so
I can tell you who won. It's on Wikipedia. It was 92.
Well, not that Royal Rumble. But I also could tell you who won at what number, because Ric Flair comes in at number 3. Kevin Apollo.
Hold on. What is the with one this year happening in February?
I don't know. This is devil's work.
I don't like it.
Night 2 of WrestleMania is on Easter. The Rumble's in February.
WrestleMania's on Easter?
Yeah, I'm not
really.
I'm not happy about this. Gotta sit down and have a conversation with the boss.
Because I looked it up. I was like, oh, when are they doing it? Let me see if I can maybe at least pop in. And then I was like, February? What is this nonsense? So just had to say that.
I thought Jesus was getting too much heat. I got to go over.
No, that's Vince.
Oh, God. The less said about that, the better.
I just had a thought, because I actually want her to answer this question.
Uh-huh.
I want everybody to retweet my J.K. Rowling needs to answer the who Harry would have picked, Davey Boy Smith or Bret Hart.
No, I saw this, and the answer was clearly he doesn't know because the family went and left him with Mrs. Fig, and they just took Dudley.
I want her to answer
it. That does seem like a very viable answer.
There's no universe in which Uncle Vernon is paying for a ticket for Harry Potter for SummerSlam 1992.
Well, to be fair, that wouldn't stop Harry from having a
ticket.
Yeah.
Pick sides.
He can still, care. I would think it would be Davey Boy.
I don't care if he watched it from his room closet or not. I don't know who he picked.
The cupboard under the stairs, Kevin, get it right.
I don't care.
Listen, if
under the stairs.
Look, if Harry Potter picked Bret Hart, I would lose all faith in him.
Yeah, there's no way. Why would he pick the American over the Brit?
No, everyone in the actually, Trish, I was more over than Davey Boy that night, and everyone just had to cheer for him because they felt it was like a like a national pride thing, but they liked me a lot more than they liked Davey Boy over in England. I'm like, you forget, unbelievable.
He's a Canadian hero. He's not American, except for that post 9/11 promo where he said that technically Canada is in North America, so that means I'm an American.
And his mom was American.
My
said
mom's
that once
American.
too.
You're all Americans. We're all Americans too. Take that, Osama Bananarama. Actual Bret Hart quote.
What?
Take that, Osama Bananarama.
What did Bananarama do?
You're right. They just made some tunes.
Venus isn't that bad.
Cruel
Kevin
Summer
Apollo,
Club.
tell the fine folks at home where they can find out more about you and what you're up to.
I know I'm around on Twitter and stuff. If you can find me.
Yes,
If-
please,
if
guys,
you're
follow
actually
Kevin
allowed to
Apollo.
find my account.
Yes, follow Kevin Apollo. Repost his stuff. We're trying to get him unshadow banned. So let's get Elon to take notice.
I'm buried under the Twitter jail. I'm like in Amanda Waller territory.
Yes, yes, you are. You are. You're in that plastic Magneto prison.
At least you're
all
not
right,
in
guys.
the one that Beau DeMayo did with the St. Andrew's Cross.
Yeah. Oh God.
Nolan taking it darker place of the yes.
Where he
Sexy
wanted Magneto to
Magneto.
where Magneto had to be naked. We needed Magneto hanging brain for the
Charles, it's cold. It's cold in here, Charles.
No. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Keep it here. By the way, as of this moment, if I look over at the channel dashboard right now, we are at 4,949 subscribers. That means we need 51 more of you to become to hit 5,000 and then hopefully have our 5,000 member celebratory live stream. I would love for that to be next week.
Sorry. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you didn't get unsubscribed. YouTube has a bad habit of doing that to you. So
this week, especially this week, it's happened to us. It's happened to Culture. It's happening to Pro. It's happening to everyone. Echo Base Nick from Echo Base was telling me they lost like 500 subscribers this week because of that.
I just had an idea.
What?
Why don't we make our own award show?
Oh God.
Let's get the channels
Toonies?
together. We set the we set the parameters and we give out our own awards for games and movies.
The
'Cause we know
Dundies.
everything sucks, but I think we're all people of refined taste. Like, clearly, no one's going to be giving Section 31 an award. I'll be watching this in protest of just needing to know how awful it is, but being sad that I have no one to complain about it with.
At least we won't have a naked John Cena on this show.
Yes, that's right.
So you think.
Yeah, we can cut out all the humiliation rituals unless someone wants to shave their hat.
See, that's the thing about naked John Cena. You never know where he's going to pop up. You could just be watching an episode of Peacemaker, and then all of a sudden, there's his ass.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey,
What
if
an
you
end
get
note.
5,000, what are you going to do? Like a selection from Redditor or what?
I don't know. We'll do a celebratory live stream like we did last time, but we'll make it bigger. Guests and games and maybe even some giveaways. We'll see.
Pin the tail on the donkey?
We gotta hit the we'll hit the 5,000 first, and then I'll figure out what we're gonna do.
Oh my God, get Beau DeMayo for it.
That's what's up, Beau DeMayo.
Come on, Beau.
He's not coming on this. It's not gonna
Let us
happen.
have our dream.
We're not that mean to him. Even we're giving a gentle razzing.
No, man, I'm pretty sure I did some videos in the past where I was not nice.
So then it's your fault.
That's
Yeah,
your
if we
fault.
do, it's
Not
my
our fault. It's
He
your
clearly
fault.
likes
then.
me. My good friend responds to me whenever I write him. So
My good friend.
That's
That
all-
makes me laugh.
I'm sure it's just for your witty commentary.
I mean, technically, if he looks at my account, he should think that we should be diametrically opposed. But
that's very true. No, we'll see because I do respect the guy's talent. So if you guys can get him, then that would be awesome. But if it's a Kevin Kelly situation though, where we get to like 2 days before the interview and suddenly he's like, my lawyers have said don't do this.
That happens.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly was supposed to be yesterday, and on Monday he texted me and was just like, hey, my lawyers said no interviews. Because he's
I guess that
actively
makes sense.
well, he's actively in a lawsuit. I understood.
Yeah.
I knew why. He's
Yeah.
actively
Maybe
in a lawsuit
afterwards.
against AEW. So
we can talk geek stuff. We can ask, like, if you could write a DC show, would you write? Like, we could just get all Barbara Walters with it. If you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be? We can work around the lawsuit.
All right, guys. Make sure you're telling friends about the channel. Make sure to keep watching for new videos, new member content from all of us here at the Tooney Town channels. I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!
Now, Betty the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator!
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing. Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what?
Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.